So it's a real life elements. Environment is just a real life and practical things. So coming to the COP28. So what is this COP means? Conference of Parties. So first of all, we have reached up to 28 sessions. So what is the origin? This is the origin, UNFCCC. What it means? United Nations Framework on combating climate change. Okay. United Nations Convention on Climate Change, combating climate, it depends. Generally, it is called as United Nations Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. So, prior to this, do you have any idea? Like, they are talking about what? Climate change, right? So, at 1980s, there is a report called Brundtland report, right? Anybody have idea regarding this report? So this is the origin. This is the origin of discussion regarding there is a climate change. So one thing prior to this, do you know ozone hole depletion? Depleting the ozone layer. Any idea what is the protocol regarding that? Montreal. Fine. So Montreal Protocol is regarding this ozone layer depletion. So the talks are going for what? For a discussion regarding the climate change. So at the point of 1992, there is a summit called Rio Summit. Rio Summit or Earth Summit. Generally it is called Rio or Earth Summit. So where this Rio resides? Brazil. Okay. At this summit, there are a lot of things came into the being. First one is Agenda 21. Anybody know this one? What this Agenda 21 means? Yeah, exactly. 21 stands for 21st century. So it is the origin, right? 1992, somewhere around. So we are going to do something better for society from the perspective of this climate change. Remember, this Agenda 21 is an non-binding. So these type of things may ask in your prelims. This is non-binding in nature. It is a voluntary declaration generally. Agenda for the next 21st century, what we are going to do, the plan of actions. So in this Rio Summit, there are, apart from this Agenda 21, there are other 3 conventions are there. Could you please, anybody know? It's a very easy thing. UNF, one is UNFCCC, next one? UNCBD. UN Cafe Coffee Day. What is the CCD? Combat desertification. CBD stands for biodiversity, climate change, right? So remember one thing, these are just conventions. They are not inherently legally binding. Okay, these conventions are not inherently legally binding. The protocols which comes from these conventions are legally binding. Got it? So there may be a chance of asking a question in the prelims. UNFCCC is a legally binding in nature. No, it is not overall legally binding. Its protocols are legally binding. Any idea, any protocol? Did you know came from this UNFCCC? Kyoto Protocol. Kyoto Protocol is regarding what? GHG emissions. So what are greenhouse gases? The gases which are in green color. Then which causes global warming. Is global warming good or bad? Yeah. So the origin is what? UNF. So now we come to this UNFCCC, right? So it came at when? 1992. Remember, it came at 1992, but it came into force in 1994. There is a difference. You know this, right? So force is different, coming is different. Signatory means they have signed it. Next, the word is called ratified. Ratified means we are going to do this. So here signatory means we are accepting this, right? Remember, these things will play with you. They will play with you. These wordings are important for you. Whole course of this UNF, whatever it may be, whether it comes to the international organizations, signatory and ratified words are very important words you need to remember. So coming to here, so UNFCCC signature 1992, entered into the force when? 1994, signed in New York. You don't need all those things, but so what is the overall objective of this UNFCCC? To decrease greenhouse gas emission. So it's a starting point. Earlier there are so many conventions, some summits has happened regarding this climate change, but this is a very landmark event. Still it's there. If you see these three conventions, one is UNFCCC, second one is UNCBD and UNCCD. Of all these things, it has a huge weightage, right? So remember, it is for what? Greenhouse gases. So institutional arrangement of this one. So generally in a country where, so at present where it has happened? COP28, where it was happened? Dubai, right? So Dubai, where it resides? UAE, right? Got it? So who is the, I don't know, like there is no of environment minister of this country. He is the head of this COP. Remember, there is no election, something regarding those COP. COP is headed by whom? Every COP is headed by whom? Environmental minister of that host country. Remember. So do you have any idea, like does India, any convention which was happened in India? Delhi Declaration is fine. Here all three conventions are happened, but any year, do you have any idea? Oh, it's correct, but the year is 2002. Only once happened. It may 2033, I think so. Next gonna happen in India. So remember, this I have told you, there are bodies. So these bodies are very, very important. Is it visible? SB, ST, next one, SBI, State Bank of India. No, sorry. So what are these bodies? Subsidiary body for scientific and technological advice. Next one, subsidiary body for implementation. They don't concentrate much, they don't ask much, they generally ask these bodies belongs to which of the following convention? Which convention? Subsidiary body anangale which convention? UNFCCC. Okay. So next, this is the first thing. When the first COP has happened? 1995. Where it was happened? Berlin, Germany. This is called what? Very, very, very important point. Berlin mandate. Berlin mandate is regarding which of the following things? ఇలానే అడుగుతారు ఇంత మరి దే డోంట్ గో దాట్ మచ్ డీపర్ బట్ ఇఫ్ దే వాంట్ టు ఆస్క్ ప్రోటోకాల్స్ ఆల్ దీస్ థింగ్స్ కన్వెన్షన్స్ ఆల్ దీస్ థింగ్స్ దిస్ ఇస్ ద స్టార్టింగ్ పాయింట్ రైట్ బెర్లిన్ మ్యాండేట్ ఇస్ రిగార్డింగ్ వాట్ రిలేటెడ్ టు విచ్ కన్వెన్షన్ UNFCCC. So next COP, very very important COP, 1997, right? So I'll show you which we are very favorite thing which I follow, that is called landmark years. I love that landmark years. We'll discuss at last also. So see here, COP 3 19, how many years till now? 26. Since COP 3, Kyoto, we are talking about the Kyoto. Huh? So it's 25 years, right? Approx. So we'll talk about it later. So coming to this Kyoto Protocol, it is overall concentrating on GHGs. Remember, clarity is very very important on all those in all those things because protocols will come. For example, Montreal what? Regarding what? Ozone. Montreal, ozone, Montreal, ozone, right? So Kyoto, greenhouse gases. Montreal, Kyoto, remember? గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి ఈజీగా మర్చిపోతారు. That's the reason why I'm stressing here. So Kyoto Protocol. So this protocol came into the force when 2005. How many years it took? Nearly 8 years, right? COP 11 at where? Montreal. Where is Montreal? Do you have an idea? Canada. Kyoto is at Japan. Fine. Remember very important thing. Does India ratified this? India ratified this Kyoto Protocol. Got it? India ratified this Kyoto Protocol. So US, the word is what? Never. So it is the biggest emitter, right? If you know the pictures of those things at present, US is the biggest emitter. So remember, it is regarding what? Greenhouse gases, right? So it's no need. The protocol, yeah. Coming to this protocol is very important. It is based on what? CBDR. It means what? Common but differentiated responsibilities. What does it mean? See, example, there is an developed country, there is an developing country. Example, there is a developed country, so for example like USA, developing country like India. Both have a responsibility on tackling of climate change, but the nature how they will do it differs. Got it? How they will act, it differs. For example, they have already used those things, right? For example, they have huge industries, they have grown industries, they have already emitted these CO2 emissions, all those things, they have polluted everything, right? They need to do more activities. We also do some kind of activities. It depends on our emission targets. Got it? This is very important point. What it is called? CBDR. Common but sometimes it may look EBDR also. Equal but differentiated responsibilities. Got it? In somewhere you can get, but CBDR. So there is a principle called polluters pay principle. Any idea? Polluters pay principle. Any idea? దీన్ని జస్ట్ మీరే అర్థం చేసుకోండి, జస్ట్ అండర్స్టాండ్ ఇట్ వాట్ ఇట్ మీన్స్. పొల్యూటర్ మీన్స్ హూ ఎవర్ పొల్యూటింగ్ ఇట్, దే నీడ్ టు పే ఫర్ ఇట్, రైట్? సో దిస్ ఆల్సో అన్ ఇంప్లిసిట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ Kyoto Protocol. Who is the polluter here according to this thing? US is the polluter, right? So he need to pay. right? This polluter pay principle India also adopted. In which body, the body in India which adopted this polluter pay principle? Any idea? Yeah, NGT, National Green Tribunal. It tries the environmental cases, right? So who are polluting the environment, it will try it. So NGT is a statutory body, not a statutory body. It's a statutory body. Got it? NGT 2010 Act. So fine.
Sir,
Yeah.
US is not ratified this.
Hmm.
So even though if it has not ratified, still also it has to pay.
No, that's the reason. That's the thing I'm going to tell now. Here in this protocol, they have divided the countries based on Annex 1. I'll show you. Wait. Yeah. See here, Annex 1. I'll explain it. Just understand. Annex 2, Annex B, non-Annex. Next one, LDC. How many classifications are there in this Kyoto Protocol? This is very, very, very important. They will play with you. Annex A and A depends on it. Okay. So Annex 1, Annex 2, Annex B, non-Annex. So Annex 1 countries are which are developed. So we are talking at the time of protocol time, 1997's time. Not at this point, but we are talking regarding this. Developed countries and economies in transition to developed. So who are generally at the point of time who are emitting more, all those things, right? So there comes under what? Annex 1 countries. Next one is Annex 2 countries. So who are these countries who need to give financial support to maybe developing or these LDC countries? These are the main polluter who need to fund them. Got it? Fund those people. So for example, set theory, Annex 2 is a part of Annex 1. You know this? Venn diagrams, right? Annex B countries, these are very important. Annex 1 parties with first or second round of Kyoto gas emission targets. Very, very important. Right. Second one is what? Finance and technical support. Annex 1 is, it includes all developed and economics in transition countries. Annex 2 is for what?
Developed countries, they need support, financial and technical support.
So who are part of Annex 1? Right. Annex B are what? Who got subscribed to this Kyoto Protocol? What? Yeah, obviously Annex 1 itself, right? Who have subscribed to this Kyoto Protocol, means they need to follow the targets which was given by the Kyoto Protocol, right? What are the countries? Annex B countries. This difference you need to make note. Non-Annex 1 are nothing related to these things. Annex 1 kaadu, Annex 2 kaadu, Annex B kaadu. Other than this, called as what? Annex B countries, for example, like India. And the last one is what? LDC, least developed countries. Example? Tuvalu, Palamu, all these things are there, right? Very meager, small islands. So African Zambia, all those things comes under least developed countries. So remember, does Annex 1 mandatory need to finance least developed countries? Who need to finance them? Annex 2. Annex 2 Annex B are?
B, sir. Annex B, party countries fund.
Yeah. who are the party of that Kyoto Protocol, వాళ్ళకి legally binding అవుతుంది. See, I am telling, so they are classified them. Annex 1 అనేది classification చేశారు. These countries అని చెప్పి they have classified like that. But who are, see, I have already told you, signatory is different from ratified. So who got ratified to this? They are part of this Annex B. These points you need to remember. See, not this concept is not only applicable to this thing, it may apply to international organizations. Lots of, if you know this concept, those international organizations gameplay will be very easy for you. So next one. So yeah, market mechanisms. So how to deal? Right, till now there are Annex 1 countries, Annex B, they need to support in what? Two manners. One is in a financial perspective and another is what? Technical perspective. So to deal with this, there are some market mechanisms. How to deal with this? What are those? First one, CDM, cash deposit mission. So sorry, clean development mechanism. Next one, emission trading, joint implementation. Again, this concept is very important. Differences are important. Base అర్థం చేసుకోండి, it will be very easy for you. Clean development mechanism. What this word itself saying? Simple, nothing much here. Some Annex B country need to perform some emission reduction commitment in developing countries. Got it? So what it means? Annex B countries need to what? Emission reduction commitments to where? In the, they need to work on project or something in where? Developing countries. If they do it, they will get CER, very very important, certified emission reduction credits. 1 CER equal to 1 ton CO2. 1 CER equal to how much? 1 ton CO2. This is the very basis of it. If you go like any at present also we are discussing about this 1 ton CO2. Generally they will classify it on based on this 1 ton CO2 itself. So they will earn this 1 CER. For example, 1 ton CO2 means, for example, X country like USA is implementing a project in X country. See, it got breached out. So generally there is 100 is the target. It can emit how much? 100 tons. But if it breached to 110, if it breached to 110, these 10 can be make use of at this country. It is a project, it can invest in this year. So by investing over here, it can reduce this 10%. Got it? Understanding? So this is the very basic concept of this one, right? Clean development mechanism. Next one is what? Emission trading. So these emission tradings are generally called based on what? Carbon credits. If a carbon credit is there, if you want to quantify, the word is what? Quantify. Quantify means what? It has an amount, right? Quantify means what? It has an amount. So one carbon credit may be equal to how much? 1 ton CO2. CER, all these things, generally you don't need all those things, but remember, it may come on the paper. So in this emission trading, there are two elements prior to this. Remember, do you know these things? Carbon credit and CO2 sequestration and carbon capture. These three words are very very important. So maybe next week or maybe upcoming week, I am going to do a video on the carbon. Like, so if you pick UPSC PYQs regarding the subject of environment, in the prelims, in a year you can see a word of carbon. Maybe if they may skip for 1 year or something, but you can easily see a word of carbon, that I can guarantee you, because I have analyzed it, right? So carbon is very loving element of UPSC. There are other things also. First one is bio, carbon, and next other one is called green. These things you can see it on the UPSC prelims questions if you analyze the PYQs also, but we'll talk about this later. So coming to here, what this carbon sequestration means, the concepts are important for you. What is carbon sequestration? Sequester means, so I'll ask you something. Afforestation, does it help in carbon sequestration? Got it? See, mostly they don't, they may ask the definition of the carbon sequestration, but according to the UPSC trends, they will ask the application based. So this is an application, right? Afforestation in application of this concept of carbon sequestration. Got it? Yeah, it's something similar, but you are doing it voluntarily, sequestering them. Carbon sink is the same thing. See, I'll tell you. Wetland. Wetland can be called as carbon sink, right? Next other thing is called peatlands. Any idea? So for this peatlands, there is a declaration called Brazzaville Declaration. Right? These declarations are very important. Right? So remember, right? Peatland can be a carbon sequestration. Right? So in India, there is an exchange called what? Multi Commodity Exchange of India launched futures trading in what? Carbon credits. So India is doing carbon credits. Overall, me telusukovalsindi MCX. So in this types of carbon credit, there are two things. One is what? Emission trading. Next one is what? Offset trading. So coming to this emission trading, allows countries to sell unused emission units through countries that exceeded their targets. Carbon is tracked. Same thing. Clean development mechanism cheppana. I've told you, right? It is a next version of it. 110, 100. It has breached the 10 units. So where this 10 units, there is an exchange. Same thing like trading platform. Trading tells us, do you know trading, right? So same thing. These 10 targets, this country can buy from here by investing some money. Got it? Understood, right? So this is called what? See, the words are important. Emission trading. What angels they don't do much efforts to confuse you. In clean development mechanism, they will give this statement. Clarity is important in this environment. What I am going to say, clarity is very important for you. So next one is what? Offset trading. What does it mean? So generally offset trading or carbon project or baseline and credit. These are all the names for this offset. So carbon credit is to be earned by a country by investing some amount of money in such projects. So it's going to invest money in an X project. Who are going to do this? All those things? NXB countries. Remember? Gurtupettukondi. So next one is what? Joint implementation. This is nothing much. If NXB country and another NXB country, if it has more, it can share it, or else they can combinedly do a work in some X country. Got it? Joint implementation. అర్థం కాకపోతే అడగండి. I'll tell you, because these are the very core concepts of the Kyoto Protocol. Got it? If you didn't understand, just ask me, I'll tell you. So this may not be important at present times. So just go it, nothing much here. If there is penalties, if they breach, there will be a penalties. If they are not going to do this, the NXB countries, they are not going to perform these things, there may be a payment of it. So next, what is the first one? Where is the first COP? Berlin Mandate. When? 1995. So when is the Kyoto? Which COP is this? COP 3. Next, coming to what? COP 4, 1998, Buenos Aires Plan of Action. There's nothing much has happened in this thing. So remember, Buenos Aires Plan of Action. Next one is what? Bonn, Germany. So no need. COP 7, 2001, Marrakech, Morocco. Very, very, very important. Right? Where it was happened? Marrakech. Where it is? Morocco. So did you know this one? Adaptation Fund. Any idea? Any idea? So nothing much, I'll tell you. For the Kyoto, they have devised a fund. That fund is called what? Adaptation Fund. We'll talk about this, but I'm giving prior introduction regarding this. So only one time in India, when? 2002 Delhi Ministerial Declaration. So it called for efforts by the developed countries to transfer technology and minimize the impact of the climate change. Nothing much happened, but remember Delhi Declaration, Delhi Ministerial Declaration. So this is important, right? So Kyoto, when the Kyoto has came into the being? 1997, but came into the force? 2005, that is where? Montreal. Got it? So it was the first meeting of the parties to the Kyoto Protocol. Since their initial meeting in the Kyoto 90, it was therefore one of the largest intergovernmental conference on the climate change ever. Kyoto Protocol, somehow RED plus came into the picture. So now there is a concept of REDD, UN REDD plus. What it means? Any idea? So what is the general difference? Any idea? Anybody know this? Red and red plus? Tell me. Yeah. So what this red means? Something similar. Reduction on emissions, deforestation and degradation. Okay. So it is generally containing to forests, afforestation, land degradation, all those things. It is just confined to these things. But red place, it is an more inclusive approach. More means what? It is not only restricting to this forest degradation, forest development, all those things. It has a concept of social inclusion. What is the social inclusion means? Inclusion of the people. For example, tribes are part of this, right? You are doing some afforestation activity, you can include these tribes. This is way beyond red. So I'll tell you, an Indian example. Sacred groves. Any idea? What are the sacred groves?
There are some kind of trees only. Tribal people worship those groves.
Tribal people. See, for example, this is an area where this tribal people will live. They'll worship some tree, some mountain. They'll worship mountain also, right? They have tree worship, one animal worship. There may be a possibility. So if you see these trees, which they don't, even though there is a single tree, but there are some species around it, right? So they consider this area as a sacred thing. Based on their own myths, they have their own myths, right? They have their own intentional things. So based on this, they may help. So obviously, if no person is entering into this area is pristine in nature. What this pristine means? Clear in nature. No effect of the outside world, right? ఇక్కడ చెట్లు కొట్టడం కానీ యానిమల్స్ హార్మ్ చేయటం కానీ దేర్ వోంట్ బి సచ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ థింగ్స్. ఇట్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ప్రొటెక్టింగ్, రైట్? They are protecting, right? These tribals are protecting that area. They don't know all those things, conventions, all those things that you know, right? They don't need all those things, but indirectly they are protecting that space. That is called sacred groves. So in these sacred groves, in Indian picture, so which act will help to protect these sacred groves? Any idea? So these sacred groves are protected by this WPA Act, Wildlife Protection Act 1972. In this there are component called community reserves. ఈ కమ్యూనిటీ రిజర్వ్స్లో ఒక పార్ట్, దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ వాట్? సేక్రెడ్ గ్రూవ్స్. సో దీస్ ఆర్ ఇన్హెరెంట్ ఎలిమెంట్స్. So there may be a chance they may ask in your prelims. So COP 13 2007 Bali Action Plan. Where is Bali? Indonesia. Agreement on our timeline and structured negotiations of the post-2000 framework. The end of the first commitment period of the Kyoto Protocol was achieved. Adoption of the Bali Action Plan. The review of the financial mechanism going beyond the existing environment facility. Talks on UN RED. Okay. So see here the word, the review of financial mechanism. For what? For climate. See, prior to this, I forgot to tell you, there is a body called Global Environment Facility. Global Environment Facility. So it is something similar. It came something around 1992. So for this GEF, who is the trustee? World Bank is the trustee of it. So when these conventions came into the picture, some body need to fund them, right? Some organization there to fund its activities. That body is what? Global Environment Facility. Remember this point. This is a very static point. Global Environment Facility 1992. So from Berlin Mandate to where it is Bali Action Plan, there is a growth. There is a growth in this climate talks and climate changes. So what they are wanting at this time, they need a special funding mechanism to deal with this greenhouse gases. So that is the reason why they just talked. So one thing I am going to tell you, if they want to implement some convention protocol, there may be a talks 3 years or 5 years back also. Do you know COP 21? Any idea? It's a very famous COP. COP 21, Paris, 2015. The words which the instruments which was talked at this at that COP 21 are going to realize at this COP 28. Some of the elements. See how many years it got taken to came into the being. We'll talk about it. But remember, it may not come in a single day or single COP. It may take time. So where I have stopped? Yeah. The review of the financial mechanism. Talk on the red COP 14 2008. Poland. It launched the adaptation fund. We have already talked, right? Very, very, very important. At where? Poland. What it got launched? Adaptation fund. Remember, these words are important. What is this word? Ponzan strategy. Ponzan strategy. It is related to which of the following? Right? Overall UNFCCC or climate change. They don't ask maybe the convention, they may ask in different dimension, agriculture, climate change. So it is regarding what? Climate change. Coming to this adaptation fund, I have already told you, established under the Kyoto Protocol. So it finances, there is an adaptation fund board also. So World Bank as a trustee, nothing much. But remember, adaptation fund is regarding what? Kyoto. It's an exclusive part. Adaptation fund is exclusive to what? Kyoto Protocol. So Kyoto Protocol is regarding what? Greenhouse gases. Montreal? Ozone. Fine. So COP 15 2009 Copenhagen, Denmark. Very, very important. What is another important accord? Copenhagen Accord. So goal of limiting the maximum, see, very important accord. Why I have told you here, they are started a word of what? 2 degrees Celsius. Heroes kuda we are talking about this, right? Till day. So COP 15, whether it is COP 28 also, we are going to limit up what? 2 degrees Celsius of pre-industrial. Still, so the origin where we got this? From this Copenhagen Accord. Remember that point is important for you. So above pre-industrial level, subject to review in 2015, developed countries pledge up to USD 30 billion finance for the period of 2010 to 2012. This accord was not formally adopted. So next, yeah, Copenhagen Accord mentioned the Copenhagen Green Climate Fund. So we'll talk about this fund also. These funds are important ultimately. Okay. Adaptation fund is for what? Kyoto Protocol. Green Climate Fund is for overall UNFCCC. Got it? Green GCF. See, again, don't confuse. There is an GEF, Global Environment Facility. It is for overall, all conventions. For example, UNFCCC, UNCBD, there is a Minamata Convention. Lots of conventions are there. It is an overarching financing support to that. So, exclusive to UNFCCC, what is the fund? Exclusive. Green Climate Fund. For exclusive to what I am going to say, Kyoto is for what? Adaptation Fund. Remember, these funds are very, very, very important. They will make you confused with these funds itself.
Instead of CEO,
Parties instead of I think CP as COP. Nothing much over there. So COP 16, Cancun. Where is it? Mexico. What is this? Copenhagen. They have mentioned, the word is what? Mentioning of Green Climate Fund. It means an origin of Green Climate Fund. Remember the wording, how they will play the words, just see with it. So coming to here, COP 16 2010, Cancun, Mexico, parties agreed for the first time to maintain a global increase in temperature below an average of 2 degrees. So it was started over there, right? It is continued in this COP also, right? This is a continue, still continue. Next to COP also, sir, it will be there. It's a guaranteed thing. So, however, the provisions contained in the Cancun agreement are not legally binding. Agreement also established a very, very important. It is called NAMA, NAMAS. Registry for Nationally Appropriate Mitigation Actions. The word is what? Registry. Means it's a kind of register. For what? Nationally Appropriate Mitigation Actions. What does it mean? నువ్వు చేసే మిటిగేషన్ మెజర్స్ ఫర్ ఎ క్లైమేట్ చేంజ్ యూ నీడ్ టు మెయింటైన్ ఎ రిజిస్ట్రీ, రైట్? దట్ యూ హర్డ్ రైట్ 2000. ఎనీబడి రెడ్ దిస్ గ్లోబల్ COP 28 ఇన్ దిస్ క్లాస్? ఎవరైనా చదివారా బేసిక్స్ ఆఫ్ ది అట్లీస్ట్ చూసారా COP 28? దర్ ఈస్ అ మెన్షనింగ్ ఆఫ్ వర్డ్ కాల్డ్ గ్లోబల్ స్టాక్ టేక్. There is a mentioning of word called what? Global stock take. This global stock take is a kind of a registry also. It's a kind of register. What this global stock take talks about is what you have done, what you are doing, what you are going to do regarding the climate change. What you have done, what you are doing, what you are going to do to limit this 2 degrees Celsius. All those things will be there in that global stock take. If you see here, this is they just see the words are important. These are non-legally binding. So this NAMA is non-legally binding. This origin is somehow here. It got started somewhere over here. The wording may different. The wording may different over here. Nationally appropriate mitigation actions by the developing countries. So nationally appropriate mitigation actions, I have already told you. Governments agreed to include carbon capture and storage in the project under the clean development mechanism subject to technical and safety standards. Adoption of green climate fund. See, this point is very, very important. So mentioning it where? Green climate fund? Copenhagen. When adopted? Cancun. Got it? 2010. So another, this is called what? Green climate fund. There is another thing called what? Climate technology center. CTCN. Climate technology center. So we have heard something, right? For UNFCCC to grow or any convention to grow, there are two things required. One is what? Funding. Second one is technological support. These two things say kada. Overall ga either mitigation cheyalana there is a technological support. Further there is a funding mechanism. Obviously this fund comes through this green climate fund. This is CTCN. Climate, this one. Technology comes through this climate technology center. Got it? CTCN. Remember, CTCN won't fund. These words are important for you. CTCN, it won't fund. Who will fund? Green climate fund. So these differences are very important for you. Got it? So this is the green climate fund 2010. Overall UNFCCC. So it came in when? Cancun. Financial mechanism to fund all those things. GCF is accountable to the COP. So remember, very, very important point. This is the important point. So where is the secretariat of this GCF? GCF stands for what? Green Climate Fund. Green Climate Fund is for what? Overall UNFCCC. Overall UNFCCC. So it has a secretariat, right? So where is the secretariat? South Korea. Anybody can spell this one? Huh? Will anybody watch Korean series in this class? No one? Why are you so studious? Why you people are so... You never heard this symbol? You don't know this? Yeah. You know this? So it came from those Korean series only. I'm not joking, it's true. Another I don't know. But coming to here, spell this C, pronounce it. Right? 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 No? It's inton. Inton. It is not incheon or something, chinchu, regarding those things. It is inton. ఓకే నేను ఒకవేళ తప్పు చెప్తాను గూగుల్లో ట్రాన్స్లేషన్ చేసి ఒక చూసుకోండి, చించేద్దాం గించేద్దాం అనుకోకండి. సో హూ ఈజ్ ద ట్రస్టీ ఆఫ్ ఇట్? వరల్డ్ బ్యాంక్. వెరీ 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 ఇట్స్ టూ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్. India, to deal with this thing, one body should represent, right? That body is what? NABARD. Where is this? Yeah, NABARD. It is an implementing agency in the India. See, if you see this, where I have stopped, Green Climate Fund, right? Green Climate Fund ki India lo agency enti? NABARD. Adaptation Fund. ఇండియాలో నేషనల్ అడాప్టేషన్, దెర్ ఇస్ అ నేషనల్ అడాప్టేషన్ ఫండ్ కూడా ఉంది ఫర్ గ్రీన్ హౌస్ గ్యాసెస్. ఫర్ దట్ ఇంప్లిమెంటింగ్ ఏజెన్సీ ఎవరు? ఇట్స్ అగైన్ నాబార్డ్. రిమెంబర్, గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్స్, రైట్? సో GCF ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ కెన్ బి ఇన్ ద ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ లోన్స్, గ్రాంట్స్. దిస్ ఇస్ ఆల్సో అనదర్ థింగ్. సో వాట్ దే విల్ డూ ఓన్లీ ఇన్ ద ఫార్మ్ ఆఫ్ లోన్స్. ఇస్ ఇట్ ట్రూ? GCF investments can be only in the form of loans, right or wrong? Wrong. Got it. So next, COP 18 2012, Doha. So the word is what? Doha amendment to where? Kyoto Protocol. If you see the Annex B countries, when you have seen at that time, right? Annex B countries, Kyoto commitment period. The first commitment period up to 2010. Next commitment period got started from this Doha. Again, there is an amendment has happened. Doha amendment regarding to which protocol? Montreal? Fine. Kyoto is regarding what? Greenhouse? What is the fund? Adaptation? Green Climate Fund is for? GEF, Global Environment Facilities for? All other conventions. Got it? Clarity is important for you. Extended the life of Kyoto Protocol second phase 2012 to 2020. So lack of participation, వీళ్ళందరూ జంప్ అయిపోయారు. These people, no, we don't do. Why we need to invest? We need to work, all those things. So they have stepped back from this second commitment period. So also developing countries, India, China and Brazil are subject to any emission reductions, non-binding on the developing countries. So this was limited scope only to 15%, so nothing much. But remember, Doha Amendment is exclusively linked to what? Kyoto Protocol Amendment. Got it? Next, very very important, see here, at this point of time, the word is what? UNFCCC, they have started a new initiative called what? Momentum for Change, Climate Neutral Now. So this is an UPSC 2018 question. Momentum for Change, Climate Neutral Now is an initiative of what? UNFCCC Secretariat. See, at this point it got launched. At the time of 2012-13, in between, this got launched, this Momentum for Climate Change Neutral Now. A new initiative got started. So that is the reason why initiatives launched by UNFCCC are important. We will see the next PYQs also. initiatives are important, not only restricting to this UNFCCC. On sidelines, for example, what generally happens at the COP, there is a COP, if you see at this COP, there is a green side and blue side. Green pavilion and blue pavilion, generally they will go, there is no need of that much of logical things for you. But remember, on sidelines of this COP, some things may happen in around this COP. Those are also important for you. Got it? I'll show you with those things also. But remember here. So, UNFCCC is a very, very important. Not only for the prelims, mains also. We'll discuss those things also. And very important one. So, at present, what is the COP? COP 28, right? Where it was happened? So, one of the origin for this COP is this one. Warsaw, Poland, 2013. Very, very important. Here, very great things has came into the being. One is called this one. First one, intended nationally determined contributions. This is also called NDCs. Nationally determined contributions. This is the first point. Second point, further the Warsaw mechanism was proposed which would provide expertise and possibly aid to developing nations to cope with what? Loss and damage. NDC and L&D, loss and damage. See where the talks has happened regarding the loss and damage. At the Warsaw. Loss and damage fund which got realized in this COP 28. Appun nunchi talks jarigite, it got realized when recent COP 28 with a 700 billion amount they have put of this top contributor is UAE itself. Got it? Loss and damage fund. See, I have told you right earlier. CB, DR, right? Common but differentiated responsibilities. So here a differentiated responsibility is something like this NDC. Nationally determined contributions. For example, do you know there is a strategy I have already tell you last class lo kuda there is a strategy called Panchamrit strategy. I have already mentioned in the last class. So what example for one of the example for it is 50% from non-renewable energy of మన energy ఎంత 50% ఎక్కడి నుంచి తీసుకొని రావాలి from non, it is one of the India's NDC. Yeah, from renewable 50% you need to decrease. So there are two things. First one is, yeah, here it is renewable energy. You need to get same thing. Then vice versa ante kada. 50% non-renewable and 50% renewable and okatega. So vice versa itself. So whatever it may be. But 50. So one of the target in the Panchamrit target, one of the target is this one. This is India's NDC, nationally determined contribution. So India has contributed like మేము ఇంత చేస్తాము. We are going to act like this. Got it? Panchamrit strategy which was came in COP 26 Glasgow. Okay? Very, very important Panchamrit strategy for the next 2-3 years also. We'll talk about that also. But remember, NDC's origin is what? CBDR. The next one is what? I have talked loss and damage which got realized in this COP 28. So it is Dubai consensus. So next one is very important thing. It's not that much interesting also, but it is not. Nothing has happened in COP, but it is a landmark thing. It is a landmark thing. This COP is a landmark thing, but nothing has happened. But in the later parts in COPs, we'll get to realize these things. Same thing, 2 degrees Celsius, warming to below 2 degrees Celsius and limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So next point is what? Developed countries to give how much? 100 billions per year by 2020 till 2025. It was not realized till now also. Per year, the word is what? Per year. Ippadaka it has not collected 100 billion overall also. Remember that point. Next one, very important point. Each country is required to submit and update their NDCs every 5 years. Next one, outlining their plans for reducing the greenhouse gas emissions and so if you see, India has given recent is the 5. Earlier there is only 3 of that 5. Got it? In earlier India's target is something 45%, 30. We'll talk about when we're talking about that Panchamrit strategy. But remember, this is the thing, outlining the plans for reducing, each country is required to submit and update their and every 5 years, same thing. So nothing much here, but ultimately this COP, they are going what? They need to submit, NDC is the first point, you need to limit these things is the second point. So next, global stocktake, this is a concept, right? These global stocktake concept also started here. Earlier where we have seen that one? NAMA, National Adaptation Mitigations. But it is not exclusively linked with, but the word global stocktake need to be realized at 2023, which was talked at this Paris summit. Got it? Did you understand what this global stocktake means? అర్థమైంది గ్లోబల్ స్టాక్ టేక్ అంటే వాట్ యూ హ్యావ్ డన్, వాట్ యు ఆర్ డూయింగ్, వాట్ యు ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు డూ. యూ నీడ్ టు మెయింటైన్ రిజిస్టర్ వాట్ యూ హ్యావ్ డన్. ఇప్పుడు దాకా ఏం చేసావు, ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తున్నావు, ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేయబోతున్నావు. రిగార్డింగ్ ద గ్లోబల్ స్టాక్స్ మీన్స్ స్టాక్ అల్టిమేట్లీ రిగార్డింగ్ దిస్ డిక్రీజింగ్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ కార్బన్ ఎమిషన్స్. You are going to some mitigation measures you need to perform, right? So those all things you need to publish on that global stocktake. So this is a very important thing. This is sideline. There is nothing much linked with this UNFCCC. It is a climate ambition summit. ఇది ఏంటంటే 5 years కంప్లీట్ అయినందుకు some government has conducted it. Got it? These things UPSC may pick. Climate ambition summit. It may happen around 2020, but it will be in the news. Got it? See, for example, the same thing. 2008, the question they have asked about this momentum for change. When it was came around 2012-13, right? So UNFCCC is very important. So remember, climate ambition. Remember the first point. Climate ambition summit is not part of UNFCCC. It is not exclusive part of this one. To celebrate it as a 5 years, some countries, what are those countries? UK, France and Chile anniversary. So summit was significant step towards the UN climate change conference of the parties. The summit provided orders with nothing much, but remember, climate ambition summit. So next comes to COP 22. Marrakesh, Morocco. Again, prior also there is a Marrakesh, Morocco has happened, right? So this is another thing. COP 2016. This is another important thing. It was the first meeting of the parties for the Paris Agreement. After the Paris Agreement, ela cheyali. So they need to develop a Paris rule book. ఇదేదో చూసి పెద్ద టర్మ్ అనుకోబాకండి. సో వాట్ ఆర్ ద initiatives which were taken in this Paris, they need to implement it. So that was mentioned in this Paris rule book. Ela cheyali enti ane daniki, and that's nothing much for here. Was the first meeting to the parties for the Paris Agreement. Its purpose is to demonstrate to the world that Paris Agreement is underway. COP 22 was also called very important. Action COP or Agriculture COP. Which COP is called as Agriculture COP? COP? they don't ask this number, but Marrakesh of UNFCCC. So remember, outcomes are important. This is another important thing. Marrakesh Partnership for Global Climate Action. It is initiative of which convention? UNFCCC. Marrakesh Partnership for Global Climate Action supports implementation of the Paris Agreement by enabling. So ఇది దేనికోసం? For the implementation of Paris Agreement. Remember this point. Enabling collaborations between the governments and the cities, regions, business and investors that act on the climate change. Adaptation of African agriculture. AAA. It is not battery, AAA battery. Sorry. Was launched at COP22. Supported by the UNFCCC, FAO and 33 organizations. So there is a campaign. Remember this campaign. We AARE. ఇలానే అడుగుతారు. Campaign VAARE is regarding what? It's related to what? COP22 UNFCCC. Ultimately UNFCCC. Got it? So next one, it pushed the Kyoto Protocol signatory nations to ratify the Doha amendments. So in COP22, the mission, another important thing. In the sidelines of this COP22, there is a mission called what? Mission? Mission? It was launched by the EU. Remember, it was directly not launched by UNFCCC, it was launched by EU. So another thing is called breakthrough energy venture. Nothing much, net zero emissions. It is for net zero emissions. When it was came? In the sidelines of COP22, Marrakesh. Remember this పేర్లు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి చాలు. Mission Innovation and this breakthrough energy venture. So this is also not that much important, but just go through this. So next one, COP23 2017, Germany or Bonn conference. This is very, very important. Why? Because held in Bonn, presided by a government of Fiji. So now comes action of whom? Some islands. They don't cater these people, right? అంటే జనాల్ని, for example, if you see Dubai COP, Dubai consensus, 200, like not 200, something 198, 200 countries have came, right, to that country to accommodate all those delegates. They have some funds, resources, each and everything, right? But they are unable. That's the reason why who helped them? Who helped this Fiji? Germany, right? So Bonn. So to advance the aims and ambitions, చూడండి ఇక్కడ నుంచి చూడండి, అక్కడ నుంచి టు అడ్వాన్స్ ద ఎయిమ్స్ అండ్ అంబిషన్ ఆఫ్ ప్యారిస్ 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 ఆ 2 degrees Celsius ఎలా మాట్లాడు, ఇప్పుడు కూడా స్టిల్ నెక్స్ట్ కాప్ వచ్చినా సరే అదే మాట్లాడతారు. Got it? So where it concluded with the countries putting in a place a roadmap for very, very important తలనొప్పి కాదు, ఇట్స్ ఎ తలనోవా dialogue. And it's a, what this Talanova dialogue, any idea? There is nothing much here. It's a tribal way of settling the disputes. They have some in their Fiji, right? There are tribes living over there, right? Small island. There are some indigenous tribes over there, right? కొంతమంది ట్రైబ్స్ ఉంటారు కదా, దే విల్ సెటిల్ సమ్ డిస్ప్యూట్స్ అమాంగ్ దెమ్. ఆ డైలాగ్ని వాళ్ళ రీజనల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ దే విల్ కాల్డ్ ఎస్ తలనోవా. గాట్ ఇట్? దానికి యూ డోంట్ నీడ్ సమ్ డిక్షనరీ డెఫినేషన్స్ ఏం లేవు, బట్ రిమెంబర్. So under the Talanova dialogue, it was agreed that next 2 climate conferences 2008 were have a special stock taking session. See, again the word starts with stock taking start ayindi. This stock take would focus on the pre-2020 actions being taken by the different countries to reduce the greenhouse gases. This would also include the progress made by the developing nations in their obligations to provide finance and technology support to developing countries. Nothing much. I have already told you stock take ante enti, what you have done, what you are doing, what you are going to do, whether it is finance or technical wise. Got it? So this is an PYQ. Any idea? మీకు ఇదంతా అవసరం లేదులే కానీ బట్ సీ దిస్ పాయింట్. తలనోవా డైలాగ్. Again, this is also important thing. Under 2 coalition, this is also if you have some sense, 2 degrees Celsius తగ్గించాలి అని ఒక ఐడియా మీకు ఉంటే సేమ్ థింగ్. 2 degrees Celsius ఇప్పుడు మాట్లాడుతుంది అంతా. ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ దట్ లాజికల్ థింకింగ్ ఉంటే, ఒకవేళ అసలు ఏంటి జస్ట్ ఈవెన్ దో యూ డోంట్ నో దట్, అట్లీస్ట్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎ సెన్స్ దట్ అండర్ 2 సంథింగ్ రిలేటెడ్ టు ద క్లైమేట్ చేంజ్, 2 degrees Celsius అని ఒక థాట్ యూ హ్యావ్. ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ డెవలప్డ్ దట్ థాట్, this child rates may not be a true one. If you have developed that thought, if you know this Talanova dialogue, so global climate change, is it correct or wrong? Global climate change ki sambandhinchina kada? Is it true or not? Yes, right? So if you see the third option is true, look for 3, C and D, right? Yeah, 4 wrong is fine, but you know this one, Hague Convention. This is a very common convention. Everybody knows about this one, right? Ultimately, what is the answer? Answer is what? C. See, that's the reason why there is a coalition has happened. It is also sidelined of this thing. See, for example, which we have earlier talked, mission innovation, break energy venture. ఇవన్నీ ఏంటంటే సైడ్ లైన్స్, కాప్స్కి పక్కన జరుగుతూ ఉంటాయి కొన్ని. దోస్ ఆర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఫర్ దిస్. గాట్ ఇట్? దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో విల్ డిస్కస్ లాస్ట్ ఇయర్. దిస్ సేమ్ థింగ్, దిస్ క్వశ్చన్, దిస్ పాయింట్ రేట్ అండర్ 2 coalition. నెక్స్ట్ ఇయర్ కూడా సేమ్ దే హ్యావ్ మెన్షన్డ్ దిస్ థింగ్ ఆన్ ద పేపర్. గాట్ ఇట్? సో రిమెంబర్ తలనోవా డైలాగ్, ఇట్ ఈస్ రిగార్డింగ్ వాట్? UNFCCC. ఇప్పుడు దాకా ఎన్ని క్వశ్చన్స్ చూసాం? వీ హ్యావ్ సీన్ 2 questions, very important. So next one, there is another alliance. See, same thing, under 2 coalition lage there is an alliance. What that is called? What? Powering past coal alliance. So it is regarding what? Ultimately coal. What their aim and intention is, they need to phase out coal. Phase out. So there is a trend which got started. That trend, India is objecting the trend also, but in the COP28 there is a wording change. So COP28 lo starting lo the discussions will happen, right? Wal majlo earlier the discussion starts with phase out of coal. It is still continuing from the COP26 itself. COP26 nunchi phase out of fossil fuels, phase out of coal అన్న టాక్ జరుగుతూనే ఉంది, రైట్? సో ఇట్ కంటిన్యూడ్. నౌ ఇండియా అబ్జెక్టెడ్ దిస్ వన్. వై వీ నీడ్ టు phase out the coal by 2050 or 2030, what is the target maybe? Why we need to? We are developing country. We have like first in the population, right? If we need to cater those things, got it? What I'm saying? We need to, if we want to turn from that policy to this policy, we need lot of investments there, right? So simple కాదు కదా. ఆర్ఈకి నాన్ ఆర్ఈ నుంచి ఆర్ఈకి మారాలంటే వన్ థింగ్ యూ నీడ్ టు రిమెంబర్ ఈస్ హైలీ క్యాపిటల్ ఇంటెన్సివ్. These words very, you need to place them when you are writing the mains answers. ఎందుకంటే నాన్ రెన్యూవబుల్ నుంచి రెన్యూవబుల్ షిఫ్ట్ అవ్వకపోవడానికి మెయిన్ రీజన్, దేర్ ఆర్ హైలీ క్యాపిటల్ ఇంటెన్సివ్. క్యాపిటల్ ఇంటెన్సివ్ అంటే యూ నీడ్ టు ఫండ్ మోర్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ సోలార్ ప్యానల్ ఇంటి మీద పెట్టించుకోండి, టూ కాస్ట్లీ, రైట్? సేమ్ థింగ్. సో ఇండియా హ్యాస్ అబ్జెక్టెడ్ దిస్ ఫేజ్ అవుట్. సో ఇండియా ఈజ్ వాంటింగ్ వాట్? ఫేజ్ డౌన్. We should not out it outrightly, but we'll down it from our present emissions to the later. So the last class also I have told you, when come through this natural gas, at present India's natural gas is something around 6%. So we are going to increase to 15% by 2030. So it means we are reducing those thermal emissions, which is contributing something around 60%. Got it? So coming to here, where I have stopped. Powering past coal alliance, where COP23 2017 in the Bonn, by whom? UK and Canada. Remember, India is not part of it. మీరు కొన్ని అలయన్స్ తెలుసుకోవాల్సింది, ఇండియా పార్ట్ కాదా, వెదర్ ఇండియా ఇస్ పార్ట్ ఆర్ నాట్. ఇండియా ఇస్ not part of it. An immediate end to new coal power and coal power phase out by 2030 in developed countries and by 2040 globally. India rejected this. No, why we need to do? We are an aspiring thing. The alliance was hailed by as a political watershed and a new anti-fossil fuel norm. So this is one important thing. So ఇవన్నీ ఆరిజిన్స్ అనమాట. ఎందుకు కనెక్షన్ ఇస్తున్నానంటే ఇవన్నీ చెప్తే COP28 ఈజ్ వెరీ ఈజీ ఫర్ యూ. నథింగ్ మచ్, ఏం లేవు అక్కడ. సో దిస్ ఇస్ ఇప్పుడు ఏం మాట్లాడాడు ఇక్కడ, ద అలియన్స్ వాస్ హెయిల్డ్ యాజ్ ఎ పొలిటికల్ వాటర్ షెడ్ అండ్ ఎ న్యూ యాంటీ ఫాజిల్ ఫ్యూయల్ నామ్. సో ఇన్ దిస్ COP28 వాట్ దే హ్యావ్ డిసైడెడ్ ఈస్ వాట్, ఎనీ ఐడియా? ఫస్ట్ టైం ఫాజిల్ ఫ్యూయల్స్ రిడక్షన్ చేయాలి అని చెప్పి మాట్లాడారు. ఫస్ట్ టైం ఇన్ ద హోల్ జర్నీ. Till now, what we have talked regarding the reduction of greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases can be emitted by not only restricted to the fossil fuels. It can be emitted by lot many things. For example, plastic waste. For example, agriculture also contributes greenhouse gas emissions. I forgot it. So remember, these gases are very, very important in the Kyoto Protocol. I forgot to tell you. What are these? CO2, CH4, that is methane. Next one N2O, nitrous oxide. Next one SF6, sulfur hexafluoride. Next one group of hydrofluorocarbons. The word is what? Hydrofluorocarbons, HFC. Next one group of PFC, perfluorocarbons. These are very, very important under Kyoto Protocol. Remember, how they will ask a question is, which of the following are the greenhouse gases or pollutant under the Kyoto Protocol? CO, is it a part? Carbon monoxide, avuna? No, right? PM, Prime Minister, particulate matter. Do you know melody? Sorry. PM, do you know this? Not Prime Minister, particulate matter. Is it? ఉందా దానిలో ఎక్కడైనా? లేదు, అంతే. జస్ట్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. మోస్ట్లీ కామన్గా అడిగితే ఇవే అడుగుతాడు. ఆర్ ఎల్స్ WV, వాటర్ vapor. Do you know water vapor is one of the greenhouse gas element? It contributes to increase in the global warming. తెలుసా మీకు ఇది? Do you know it? Fine. But exclusive things are important for this one. CO2, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, N2O, not NO2. NO2 is what? Nitrogen dioxide. Next one is SF6, sulfur hexafluoride. Next one there is another thing, hydrochlorofluorocarbons also there, but remember hydrofluorocarbons. Last one is PF6, perfluorocarbons. These are exclusive things, don't forget. ఇది ఎందుకు చెప్తున్నానంటే there is a reason for it. See, everything start అయిన వాటికి there is an impact later phases లో. See, ultimately if you see the whole UNFCCC discussion, it is centering around this CO2. అవునా కాదా? ఇప్పుడు మాట్లాడుతున్న ఎక్కడైనా సరే CO2 ఎమిషన్స్ తగ్గించాలని మాట్లాడుతూ ఉన్నారు. సో నెక్స్ట్ అనదర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ CH4, methane. We'll talk about that. There is a connection. Yeah, agriculture. So powering past coal alliance, it is for what? Phase out or down? Out. India is not part of it. So next one, COP25, again Madrid. It is a failure COP, nothing much, just read it out. Initially was to be called at Chile, but ఇక్కడ జరిగింది. ద ప్రైమరీ ఆబ్జెక్టివ్ ఆఫ్ ద కాన్ఫరెన్స్ ఇస్ టు కంప్లీట్ ద రూల్ బుక్. ప్యారిస్లో ఏది వచ్చిందో దాన్ని కంప్లీట్ చేయాలని చెప్పి మాట్లాడారు. నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఇస్ వాట్ వాట్ ఈస్ దిస్ will become effective in 2000 to replace what 1997 Kyoto protocol దాన్ని రీప్లేస్ చేయాలన్నారు. సెకండ్ కమిట్మెంట్ పీరియడ్ కూడా అయిపోయింది. నెక్స్ట్ వన్ చిలీ మాడ్రిడ్ టైమ్ ఫర్ యాక్షన్ డిక్లరేషన్ calling on countries to improve their current latest to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions, endorsed to help poor countries who are suffering the efforts climate changes, call for urgent to cut planet heating greenhouse in line. Anything interesting or important? లేదు కదా, nothing much. So that is the reason why it is called as failure. This is also an FASAC COP. No, not that much super COP, but India has done some great things. So I forgot to tell you, at the point of COP21, India has launched International Solar Alliance. Where? At COP21, that is Paris Summit. India has launched what? International Solar Alliance. Do you know where is the headquarter of this International Solar Alliance? Gurugram. So it is still there. So International Solar Alliance, it talks about the countries around in between tropical region. It doesn't restrict other countries also. Remember that point. Not only the tropical countries, but other countries can also become a part of this International Solar Alliance. So International Solar Alliance start చేసింది India plus France. It's headquartered in the Gurugram, but lot of things are happening there. We can see something. I will connect with this one of the things, but remember this much at present is enough. But remember International Solar Alliance. So where I have stopped? Yeah. Carbon dioxide emissions must be reduced. So see this point. What is this? CO2 emissions must be reduced to how much? 45% by mid-century means 2050. This is the first point. Next one, provision calling for a phase down. See, అక్కడ స్టార్ట్ అయిందా? ఇంకిలే ఇదే అవుతూ ఉంటుంది. Generally it will happens like this. Urged developed countries. ఇందాక మాట్లాడాము. There we have talked right at the time of Paris, 100 billion per year. మాట్లాడామా? But still it's not a reality. So completing the Paris rule book. Same thing. Launched a new, very very important, Glasgow dialogue. Is regarding what? Same thing. Talanova dialogue laga Glasgow dialogue ane adige chance kuda there may be a chance. Remember that point. To discuss arrangement for the funding of activities to avert, minimize and address the loss and damage associated with the adverse effects of the climate change. Toward the end of the COP26 climate conference, climate action tracker, very important point. What is this? This is what? Climate action tracker. It is an independent one who tracks the climate targets of overall individual countries. కొన్ని individual countries ఉంటాయి కదా, సో వాళ్ళు ఎలా చేశారు ఇప్పుడు till now what they have done. They generally track, nothing much, it's a tracker, how they have performed in reducing these CO2 emissions, all those things. No need of the technical information, but remember it was this climate action tracker has came 2009 for UNFCCC. It is not part of this UNFCCC. It's an independent organization which does this tracking mechanism. But see here, remember towards the end of the COP26, see ఎందుకంటే ఒక COP అయిపోయాక there are something they will talk. వాళ్ళు ఇలా చెప్పారు ఆ టైంలో, they have said something like this. These organizations have mentioned regarding these things. Got it? One of the thing is what? Climate action tracker. What it has told at the end of this COP26, produced a report concluding that the current wave of net zero emission goals not matched by action on the ground, and that the world is likely headed for more than 2.4 degrees Celsius of warming by the end of the century. So we are not in that track. So the efforts which we are doing now, we are not doing in a correct way. We need to do more efforts, which was talked by this climate action, so some independent. So at this time it got famous. At the end of this COP26, when you see the news at that time, it got famous, but we'll talk about it, why it's there. So COP26, very important. One Sun Declaration, very important. So this One Sun Declaration is related to this International Solar Alliance. So stated that realizing the vision of one sun, one world, one grid. Ultimately this related to what? International Solar Alliance. Through interconnected green grids can be transformational, enabling all of us to meet the targets of the again Paris Agreement. Ante enti ante what this overall thing regarding this One Sun Declaration? You need to increase renewable energy capacity from the solar energy. Ante kada? It ultimately says that, right? You need to increase the renewable energy capacity through solar energy. So very important, what India has taken is what? 5-point pledge or Panchamrit. It's a very important. It may be important for your next prelims, mains, whatever it may be. It will be important for you. It is the till 2030. It is important. Till 2030. So these points are important. Net zero by when? 2070. What this net zero means? Any idea? What this net means? Ultimately it is not 100, you should not 100% coal free and chappatledu. Net zero means it is not 100% coal free. You need to do some actions to counter it. If you are emitting some gases, you need to counter that. You need to carbon sequester. If an industry, for example, some aluminium industry is releasing some CO2 emissions, you can capture this through some mechanisms, through technical things. You can capture it. Again, you can plug it into the earth. It is not harming anyone. Ultimately, it's a net and equal చేయటం. ఇక్కడ రిలీజ్ అయిన ఎమిషన్స్ని ఇక్కడ బ్యాలెన్స్ చేసి చేయటం. బట్ రిమెంబర్, ఇలాంటివి అడుగుతాడు. నెట్ జీరో మీన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ 100%. It is not 100% reduction, 100% stopping of this fossil fuels or something. Net is, this word is important. Wordings are important for you. Got it? So net zero by 2070. Next all are regarding connecting with the 2030. These are very important. This will enhance your answer. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, ఎక్కడైనా వాడచ్చు ఈ ఆన్సర్స్. GS 1, 2, 3, 4 whatever, wherever you can use them to increase its non-fossil fuel energy capacity to how much? 500 gigawatt. Non-fuel energy means what? Renewable energy kada. How much? 500 gigawatt by 2030. So next one is increase the share of renewables in energy mix to how much? 50%. Remember, 500 gigawatts. Next one, 50%. 500 Panchamrit strategy lo. Third, next one is what? Reduce the emission intensity of its economy by how much? 45%. Next one is what? Reduce the emissions by 1 billion tons of how much? In terms of CO2. అంతేనా, ఇంకేమన్నా ఎక్స్ట్రా ఉన్నాయా? Earlier this emission intensity target is something around 30%. Now it was increased to 45% at this Panchamrit strategy COP26. But just say me, net zero by 2070. Non-renewable sources in any gigawatts? 500 gigawatts. How many? 500 gigawatts. So next, energy mix how much from the renewable? 50%. So how many billion tons you need to reduce? 1 billion a million? Billion a million? Billion. 1 billion tons. Next, what was left? Emission intensity, how much?
45%.
So see, it's very easy to remember. Mostly are 5 in terms. ఇది 500, ఇది 1. ఇక్కడ కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అయ్యే ఛాన్సెస్ ఉండవు. సో వాట్ దే విల్ గివ్ ఈస్ ఎమిషన్ ఇంటెన్సిటీ ఈజ్ రెడ్యూస్డ్ బై 50% అంటాడు. దేర్ యూ విల్ fall into the trap. It is a very important topic, Panchamrit strategy, why I will tell in the later part of our discussion. But remember, 45% is what? Emission intensity. 500 gigawatt, 50%, 45% emission intensity, net zero by 2070. Okay, migilinda 1 billion tons of CO2. It is not million. So next, another thing came into at this point, that is called lifestyle for environment. Last year in the G20 also, if you see the G20, this life is there. Life ante it's not. Lifestyle for environment. How you will live? You need to change your patterns of lifestyle. For example, reducing your emissions. All those things may come into this lifestyle for environment. Ekkada ochindi idi? When it was came? COP 26. What about this Panchamrit strategy when it was came? COP 26. So next one, Sharam. So COP 27. This is also not that much, but remember Sharm el Sheikh declaration. Where it was happened? Egypt. So just see here, the Sharm el Sheikh implementation plan, it emphasized that a global transition to low carbon economy will require at least this much of amount. Mitigation work program, this would begin this year until 2030. Governments were requested to revisit and strengthen the 2030 targets in their national climate plans. National climate plans anna, national determined contributions anna, these are same thing. So I forget to tell you, what are India's quantified goals? What are India's quantified goals? Panchamrit evaithe unnayo ave. It's a goal itself, right? Quantify means it has some amount, it's a value with it, right? So alagaina adagachu, ilagaina adagachu. Got it? India's quantified goals. If they have given non-quantified means, non-quantified ante enti example? You can decrease it, fine. For example, technology is a non-quantified thing. Technology thing is a non-quantified kada. Quantified ante which has some amount with it, which has some value with it. What are non-quantified means? Which doesn't have any value, we cannot see, we cannot calculate them. So technology can be a non-quantified thing, right? For example, solar panels, solar energy vastundi. Maybe you can convert it into the quantified thing, but ultimately the technology behind it is a non-quantified thing. So if you value it, it is quantified. దాన్ని ఇప్పుడు టెక్నాలజీకి ఇంత పెట్టాలి అనుకుంటే క్వాంటిఫైడ్ కింద వస్తుంది. బట్ ద ఆరిజిన్ విచ్ వీ హ్యావ్ స్టార్టింగ్లో చూసినప్పుడు UNFCCC వాట్ ఎవర్ ద థింగ్, వీ హ్యావ్ డిఫరెన్షియేటెడ్ టూ థింగ్స్. వన్ ఈజ్ ఇన్ ద మేనర్ ఆఫ్ ఫినాన్స్, అనదర్ ఇన్ ద మేనర్ ఆఫ్ టెక్నాలజీ, రైట్? సో ఫినాన్స్ కమ్స్ ఆబ్వియస్లీ రిగార్డింగ్ దిస్ క్వాంటిఫైడ్ టార్గెట్స్, టెక్నాలజీ ఇన్ ద నాన్ క్వాంటిఫైడ్ టార్గెట్స్. ఓకేనా? టెక్నాలజీ ఏది వచ్చినా సరే తెలియదు, వీ డోంట్ నో హౌ దే మే ఫ్రేమ్ ఏ క్వశ్చన్, బట్ ఇఫ్ దే హ్యావ్ ఫ్రేమ్డ్ ఏ క్వశ్చన్, so which of the following can be an quantified or non-quantified అని ఇచ్చినప్పుడు, so technology transfer could be under the part of non-quantified. Got it? So where I have stopped, a mitigation work program, this would begin this year and last until to reduce the greenhouse gas emission applicable to sector through the increased renewable energy and low emission energy. Loss and damage, again see this one, where this loss and damage came? Warsaw. Where? Warsaw lo వచ్చింది. Again, COP 27 adopted the basic demand of a fund. Asal what is this loss and damage? Whatever it may be, loss and damage means, if you come to the picture again, ఏంటది? CBDR, కామన్ బట్ డిఫరెన్షియేటెడ్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీస్ అనే కాన్సెప్ట్లోకి వస్తే, అగైన్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అన్ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ మెకానిజం. Whatever it may be, loss and damage. For example, endukante why they have picked onto this, if you see some small island countries, they are submerging, so you can help them by using this loss and damage fund. So Laos and COP27 adopted the basic demand of the fund to acknowledge the assistance needed for the particularly vulnerable developing countries. However, there is no agreement. So here, no agreement yet to how finances should be providing and where it comes from, where fossil fuels. India wanted to include a commitment to phase down, not phase out. Same thing. Common origin తెలిస్తే మిగిలిన కామన్ ఉంటున్నాయి కదా ఇక్కడ. Nothing much to go over here. So other outcomes, new collective quantified goal on climate finance and the goal on global goal on adaptation, which is equivalent to the global goal, something same thing. అక్కడ ఏం లేదు. New collective quantified goal on climate finance. Next one, global goal on adaptation, how you will adapt to it. This is an important one. Aware, earlier we have seen VAARE, it's an agriculture of Africa. Okay, got it? So now coming to this, aware action on what? This is important, this is a keyword over here. What it is? Water. Action on water adaptation or resilience. Aware was launched by the Egypt's COP27 presidency in partnership with whom? World Meteorological Organization. Ilane adugutadu. So very important. WMO. World Meteorological Organization. Do you know IMO? What is this? Indian Meteorological Department. Fine. It is an initiative that will champion inclusive cooperation to address the water related challenges and solution, nothing much. Aware aims to contribute to successful outcome at the 2023 UN conference on water. What you will do, just go home, just see this one, UN conference of water, just చూడండి. But remember, aware దేనికి సంబంధించింది? Water, ultimately for the water. What they will give in the options? Aware, plastic, dogs, be aware of dogs, రాసి ఉంటుంది ఇంటి బయట. So next one is global shield plan. Shield for what? Climate disasters. ఇంత ఏం చదవనవసరం అవసరం లేదు, బట్ వాట్ ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు సే ఇస్ దాని ఇన్ డెప్త్ కాన్సెప్ట్ ఏం తెలుసుకోండి. దట్స్ ఇట్. అవేర్ ఫర్ వాటర్. గ్లోబల్ షీల్డ్ ప్లాన్ ఇస్ ఫర్ వాట్? Climate disasters. It is a funding mechanism. It is what? Funding mechanism that provides funding to countries suffering climate disasters. Coordinators evaru? G7. Next, V20 group of CVF. There is a climate vulnerable forum అనేది ఒకటి ఉంది. There is a forum which I think it 2009 లో వచ్చింది. Climate vulnerable forum. For this, I think Maldives is the head of this climate vulnerable forum. Of this climate vulnerable forum, there is a grouping called what? V20, vulnerable 20. Okay, of the part of this climate vulnerable forum. India is also a part of it, but India is not a founding member of it. This is also another point you need to remember. Founding member అంటే తెలుసుగా, స్టార్టింగ్ నుంచి ఉంటాం. So objectives, so nothing much, but remember there is an initiative. The country is important. Global G7 Global Shield Initiative. First recipient evaru? The great country? Yeah. Not India. Okay. So there is an lead IT, Leadership for Industry Transition Summit. It was launched by Sweden and India. So it is important. For what? For what? Low carbon transition. Industries ki, for example, aluminum industry ఎలా తగ్గించాలి, coal industry ఎలా తగ్గించాలి, how you need to reduce those things. So lead IT summit. Okay. India and Sweden, supported by whom? World Economic Forum. So it gathers countries and companies that are committed to take action to achieve the Paris Agreement. See, ఏంటి అంటే ఒకవేళ ఇట్ ఈస్ రియలైజింగ్ ద డ్రీమ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఏదైనా ఒక సమ్మిట్ ఇచ్చి సంథింగ్ 2-3 పాయింట్స్ ఇచ్చి you know some those points which are familiar for you. In the 4th point or the 5th point, it is realizing the dreams, it is realizing the targets of Paris agreement. Mostly it is the right. అర్థమైందా? సో కాప్ కి సంబంధించిన ఏ వచ్చినా సరే ఆఫ్టర్ ద కాప్ 2015 తర్వాత నుంచి ఏ కాప్స్ వచ్చినా సరే, ఇఫ్ దే ఆర్ టాకింగ్ దట్ UNFCCC రిగార్డింగ్ దోస్ కాప్స్, ఇఫ్ దే హ్యావ్ మెన్షన్డ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ రియలైజింగ్ ద డ్రీమ్స్ ఆఫ్ ప్యారిస్ అగ్రిమెంట్, ఇట్ ఈస్ కరెక్ట్. దే మే నాట్ ఎక్స్ప్లిసిట్లీ మెన్షన్, కరెక్ట్గా మెన్షన్ చేయకపోవచ్చు, బట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఇంప్లిసిట్లీ మెన్షన్. దానికి ఇప్పుడు ఇఫ్ యూ సీ ఆల్ దోస్ థింగ్స్, ఇట్ ఈస్ సపోర్టింగ్ దిస్ ప్యారిస్ అగ్రిమెంటే కదా. మీరు ఎక్కడ ఏం చూసుకున్నా సరే, వాట్ ఆర్ ద థింగ్స్, ఇనిషియేటివ్స్, ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఈస్ రిలేటెడ్ టు దిస్ ప్యారిస్ అగ్రిమెంట్. దిస్ ఇస్ ఎ లాజిక్ బిహైండ్ ఇట్. అన్నీ బట్టి కొట్టిన చదవని అవసరం లేదు. ఇఫ్ యూ నో దిస్ లాజిక్, యూ కెన్ పుట్ దట్ ఆప్షన్ యాజ్ అ రైట్ ఆప్షన్. గాట్ ఇట్? సో అగైన్ ఏ కంపాండియం, MOFCC, you know this one? Ministry of Environment and Forest Climate Change, and UNDP, there is a compendium called what? Prayas se Prabhav tak, from mindless consumption to mindful utilization on sidelines of. So it may come, may not come, but remember, you can use this in your answers. So next, FAST initiative. The Egypt leadership also announced the launch of the food and agriculture. FAST is regarding for what? Not fast tags. Food and అగ్రికల్చర్. ఇంకా అవసరం లేదు కానీ జస్ట్ రిమెంబర్ దట్ పాయింట్. ఫుడ్ అండ్ అగ్రికల్చర్, ద ఫాజిల్ డిమాండ్, దానిలో ఉన్న ఎమిషన్స్ తగ్గించాలి. ఫాస్ట్ ఇనిషియేటివ్. సో ఫాస్ట్ ఈజ్ ఫర్ వాట్? ఫుడ్ అండ్ అగ్రికల్చర్. లీడ్ ఐటీ సమ్మిట్ ఈజ్ ఫర్ వాట్? లో కార్బన్ ట్రాన్సిషన్. గ్లోబల్ షీల్డ్స్ ప్లాన్, క్లైమేట్ డిజాస్టర్స్. హూ ఈస్ ద ఫస్ట్ recipient of it? Pakistan. Next, what is the new collective quantifier? No, this one. AWARE is for what? Water. AARE is for what? Agriculture of Africa. So next one, Infrastructure Resilient Accelerator Fund. It was launched by CDRI, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. This was launched by India, the CDRI. Got it? It is for what? Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. For example, if you take the recent Chennai floods, if it want to work, ఎవరైనా దానికి ఫండ్ చేయాలన్నా సరే, some mechanisms if you want to develop inter-country, for example, other country has some extra thing, and they have developed a new mechanism, new technology over there, they can help with of this Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. They can help in between them to develop such kind of infrastructure capabilities in a city like Chennai, which may reduce the impact of this climate change disasters, right? అర్థం కాలేదా? చెన్నై ఫ్లడ్స్ వచ్చాయి. వచ్చినప్పుడు ఇప్పుడు ఏంటి, 2015 కంటే 2015లో చెన్నై ఫ్లడ్స్ వచ్చాయి, ఐడియా ఉందా? సో అప్పుడు కంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇంకా ఆ డ్రైనేజ్ అవ్వలేదు అన్నారు. బికాస్ దేనికి, ద రీజన్స్ వాట్ మే బిహైండ్ ఆఫ్ దట్, ఈవెన్ దో ఇట్ ఈస్ బార్డర్డ్ టు సీ. సో వాట్ ఆర్ ద రీజన్స్ ఫర్ ఫ్లడింగ్ అవడానికి రీజన్స్ ఏంటి? అర్బనైజేషన్ ఈజ్ ద వన్ ఎలిమెంట్. సో అర్బనైజేషన్ డ్యూ టు ద పాలసీస్ లైక్ మిటిగేషన్ అంటే తెలుసా? డూ యూ నో ద వర్డ్ మిటిగేషన్ మీన్స్? మిటిగేషన్ మీన్స్ ఒక డిజాస్టర్ జరుగుతుందన్నప్పుడు ముందుగానే యూ నీడ్ టు ప్లాన్ సంథింగ్. ఇఫ్ ద డిజాస్టర్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు హ్యాపెన్, యూ నో prior to that you need to take some steps. Those are called mitigation measures. So you need to adopt some kind of technology. So recently you have seen this one, right? Chennai floods, the main contributor is the plastic pollution. Do you know that? It got stuck in the drains. Manholes everything దానిలో స్ట్రక్ అయిపోయి వాటర్కి వెళ్ళట్లేదు లోపలికి. So plastic pollution, you can mention these things. So another important thing is there is a river. There is a river which generally drains into the sea. Kaveri river, I think. Kaveri generally drains into the sea. What we as a man made, what we have done is we have stored that amount of the water for our future use. Store చేసుకున్నామా? So what ultimately when the rainfall comes, you need to release those things, right? లేకపోతే రిజర్వాయర్ ఓవర్ఫ్లో అవుతుంది, క్యాచ్మెంట్ ఏరియా మొత్తం పోయింది, మొత్తం ఇట్ బి డిస్కార్డ్ అయిపోతుంది, మొత్తం అల్టిమేట్ ఇట్ మే వైప్ అవుట్. సో వాట్ దే హ్యావ్ డన్, దిస్ ఎ హ్యూజ్ డౌన్ పోర్ ఆఫ్ ద రెయిన్, రైట్? చాలా రెయిన్ రావడం వల్ల ఏమైంది, గేట్లు ఎత్తేసారు, కొన్ని గేట్స్ ఎత్తేయగానే సో లాట్స్ ఆఫ్ క్యూసెక్స్ కేమ్ ఇన్ టు ద రీన్. అవి ఎలా వెళ్ళాలి, న్యాచురల్ ఫ్లోలో వెళ్ళాలి. బట్ ఇన్ దట్ న్యాచురల్ ఫ్లో యూ హ్యావ్ ఆల్రెడీ ఆక్యుపైడ్ ద పాండ్స్, లేక్స్, యూ హ్యావ్ అర్బనైజ్డ్ ద థింగ్స్, యూ హ్యావ్ ఆ ఫ్లో అయితే ఏదైతే ఉందో ఆ ఫ్లోనంతా అబ్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేసేసావు విత్ యువర్ అర్బనైజేషన్, encroachment things, you have overpowered all those things. So where the water will flow if you stop its natural flow? That is the main reason behind it, Chennai floods. So అలాంటి వచ్చినప్పుడు you can use with the help of this, ఇది ఎందుకు చెప్పానంటే you can use this point at the way forward. Chennai floods mostly maybe it may come in 2024 mains, there may be a huge chance, ఎందుకంటే the question already asked, Chennai floods గురించి already అడిగాడు. Again there may be a chance, again this Mumbai floods also happened, so obviously urban flooding is a concept, so you can use these things, you can use this example, coalition of for disaster resilient infrastructure at India's Pavilion 27 Sharm el Sheikh declaration, IRAF, this infrastructure resilient accelerated fund, multi donor fund established with the support of United Nations Development Program and UN Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. It will be managed by United Nations Multi-Partner Trust Fund, UNMTPO and New York. It will be supported by India, UK, Australia. Just see these things, nothing much here. One of the important thing is what here? SIDS, Small Islands Development States. It is also part of this CDRI. Next one, Global Offshore Wind Alliance. India is not part of it. దీనిలో ఇండియా పార్టా కదా? ఇండియా is part of it. Right, India ikkada part kaadu. Was initiated by the International Renewable Energy Agency, Denmark, and the Global Wind Energy Council. It will bring together governments and private sectors ultimately for what? Offshore wind power. India is not part of it. Remember that point. I don't know actually. We need to talk with them. We need to call. Good initiative, but I'll tell you something. So this is a COP 28. So we came to the COP. I'll tell you your answer also. Prior to that, we will discuss something. COP 28 UAE, Unite, Act, Deliver. COP 28 will focus on 4 paradigm shifts, nothing much here. Chadavandi. Fast tracking the energy transition and slashing emissions before 2030. Transform climate finance kavali. Next one, putting nature, people, lives and livelihoods at the heart of the climate action. Mobilization for the most inclusive COP ever. Nothing much here. So this is the what it's going to do. But what are its main key takeaways? Main things, ultimately there are key takeaways also kada. I have classified it into the 8 things. First point, you already know this one. Everything, the points which I will tell, apart from 2 to 3 points, you already know these things because you know the origin, all those things. So coming to the first point, shift away from the fossil fuels. Nearly 20 nations agreed to initiate the global move away or transition away. Phase down kaakunda, phase out or transition away. Got it? So the first point, when I have told you first time, they have taken fossil fuels, exclusive fossil fuels. ఇంతకు ముందు గ్రీన్ హౌస్ గ్యాసెస్ అని మాట్లాడారు. So now taken a overall fossil fuels containing what? Coal, oil and natural gas. Got it? So explicitly mentioned, specifically mentioning coal without explicit reference to the oil and gas. Next one, on renewable energy and efficiency. This is another important thing. 117 countries pledged to triple. These words are important. How much? Triple or double? Triple or double? Triple what? Renewable capacity by 2030. Next one, signatories of the global renewables and energy efficiency pledge. ఈ pledge ఎక్కడ వచ్చింది? ఇక్కడ వచ్చింది. In this COP 28. Agree to double annual rate of energy efficiency. See, you need to remember these things. Triple energy, triple the RE by when? 20. Next point enti? Double energy efficiency per 2030 ka per year. Remember this point. Per year means annually. వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తారంటే డబల్ ద యాన్యువల్ రేట్ ఆఫ్ ఎనర్జీ ఎఫిషియన్సీ ఎయిమింగ్ టు 4% బై 2030. ఇంకేం చేయరు. దే డోంట్ మేక్ మచ్ ఎఫర్ట్స్ వెన్ దే ఆర్ ఫ్రేమింగ్ దీస్ సెంటెన్సెస్, బట్ యు నో ద ఎగ్జాక్ట్ థింగ్స్. సో ఫార్మలైజేషన్ ఆఫ్ ద లాస్ అండ్ డ్యామేజ్ ఫండ్ ఇందాక వార్సాలో స్టార్ట్ అయింది, 27లో పెట్టాలనుకున్నారు. సో ఇట్ గాట్ రియలైజ్డ్ వెన్ దిస్ COP 28. So fund got formally established acknowledging the part in the global catastrophe, something how much? US $700 million. Next one is what? Acceleration of unabated coal phase down. Unabated coal phase down ante, so generally if we are in aspiring for a phase down ante new coal plants anni grants ivvanattu. For example, we have talked last week regarding the environmental impact assessment. So if you want to start a coal industry or coal mining thing, recent kottaga edaina coal mine open cheyalante it won't be possible because we are in a target of phase down. Got it what I am saying? So new coal mining or new coal plant, if you want to establish a new coal plant, if we are in a phase of phase down లేకపోతే phase out, if we accept this phase out, new coal plant may not be possible. But if we are in a target of phase down, there may be a chance of new climate, new coal plant establishment జరగచ్చు. That is the overall theme of it. Unabated coal phase down అంటే దాని అర్థం అదే. అర్థమైందా? Got it? So next one is what? Oil and gas industry pledged to reduce in a landmark agreement. 45 oil and gas producers responsible for 40% of the world oil have committed to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050. This organization also aims to reduce the methane emissions to nearly zero by 2030 with interim targets to achieve this goal. So nothing much here. Again, oil and gas industry pledge chesaru. Aim pledge chesaru. Will reduce the emissions. Ultimately, if they are talking all those things about this COP, this COP is for what? Fossil fuel COP. ఫ్యూచర్లో ఒకవేళ వస్తే మటుకి ఈ కాప్ ఓవరాల్ పేరేంటి? ఫాజిల్ ఫ్యూయల్. మొత్తం దాని మీద మాట్లాడారు ఈ కాప్ అంతా. సో నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఇస్ వాట్? రికగ్నిషన్ ఆఫ్ ఫుడ్ అండ్ అగ్రికల్చర్. సేమ్ థింగ్, వీ ఆల్రెడీ నో దిస్ వన్ రైట్? మీథేన్ ఎమిషన్స్, CH4. India is an aspiring country. We are dependent on this agriculture and livestock. In agriculture, paddy fields will release the CH4, right? తెలుసా? You do know this? స్టాగ్నెంట్గా ఇనండేషన్ పెడతారు కదా వాటర్ని. Do you know this? Next one is from the cattle. So that is called rumination. You know? Rumination అంటే తెలుసా? Ruminating animals. Again it bring it back, again chew it. It will release through mode of maybe నోట్లో నుంచి కానీ ఇంకెక్కడి నుంచి కానీ, it may release some kind of gases into the atmosphere. Those gases are CH4 gases, methane gases. So it nearly contributes 30% if you see the livestock sector itself, because we are dependent on it, right? So for this ICAR, do you know ICAR? So it has developed a mode of feed. Okay, that feed name is called Harita Dara. Harita, very very important. It will reduce the methane emissions from whom? Livestock sector. Harita Dara. It was developed by whom? ICAR. You know ICAR? Yeah, Indian Council of Agriculture Research. Harita Dara, very very important. You can use this as an example in your methane emissions. There may be a chance, see, there may be a huge chance. Till now, CO2 emissions మీద క్వశ్చన్స్ వస్తూ ఉన్నాయి, బట్ మీథేన్ ఎమిషన్స్ మీద there is no that much questions got available till now, but huge chance is there for you on behalf of this methane emissions. Yeah. Prioritizing climate and health. For the first time in 28 years, UN climate talks COP 28 highlighted the health effects of the climate The declaration was emphasized for the decreasing greenhouse emissions, less air pollution, active transportation, nothing much here, healthy diets and follow over, global commitment to cooling technologies. So these are another important thing. There is a connection here. Where is the connection here? Triple the renewable energy. Antena? Next one, double the energy efficiency. So ఇది ఎందుకు మాట్లాడండి, there is a link over here, cooling technologies. For example, ACs, there is a 5-star ACs kada, so whatever it may be, 4-star, 5-star, you know the 5 ACs star rating, right? Star rating in India is given by whom? Bureau of Energy Efficiency. From which act? Energy Conservation Act 2001. Okay na? So whatever it may be, energy efficiencies ni తగ్గించాలి అంతేనా. సో obviously there is a need of ACs, right? For example, if you go in a country like UAE without ACs, others, okay, so ultimately the AC should be energy efficient, అంతే కదా. కొన్ని tweaks చేసుకుంటా ఉంటే there you can reduce it, right, ultimately. So coming to here, COP28 also saw 60 countries endorse the global cooling pledge, which aims to reduce the cooling related emissions by at least 68% by 2050. The initiative prioritizes energy efficient cooling technologies. Got it? So overall ga club cheste, so if we revise these things, first one is for what? They are going to realize this global stock take. We'll talk about this also. Global stock take okati. Next one is what? Fossil fuels gurinchi matladaru. So they are phased down a phase away na? Phased down a phase out a? Phased down or transition away. Rendu same thing. Next one, triple renewable energy, double energy efficiency. Next one, formalization of loss and damage fund. Next one, acceleration of unabated coal phase. Idu ardhamaindi ga meeku? You got it, right? Next one is for what? Oil and gas industry. Next one, food and agriculture. Next one, health. Last one is for what? Energy efficiency and the cooling technologies. See, even though ACs are there, that should be energy efficient. Whatever the thing it may be, you need to, for example, if you see some ACs, inverter ACs and winner, heard, right? The word of inverter AC, they have some mechanism, but whatever it may be, for example, 1-star AC ki 3,000 rupees overall ga vaadite month and 3,000 rupees vastadi. For example, for that 5-star ACs, if you use the month, they'll get something around 1,500. This 3,000 vastundante ultimately you are using thermal energy, right? Got it? Thermal energy అంటే అర్థమైందా? ఇప్పుడు అల్టిమేట్గా నీ ఇన్కమ్ ఎలక్ట్రిసిటీ సోర్స్ ఎక్కడి నుంచి వస్తుంది? ఇండియా, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇఫ్ యూ టేక్ ద ఇండియా, మెయిన్ కమ్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ద థర్మల్ ఎనర్జీనే కదా. సో అల్టిమేట్లీ దిస్ ఈజ్ ఆల్సో కాన్సెప్ట్ విత్ ద ఈవీస్ ఆల్సో. ఈవీస్ కూడా అంతే. సో ఈ ఈవీస్ ఛార్జింగ్ పాయింట్ ఉంది, వేర్ దిస్ ఛార్జింగ్ పాయింట్ వీఆర్ గెటింగ్ థర్మల్ ఓన్లీ, రైట్? సో వాట్స్ ద పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ యూజింగ్ యూవీస్? అవసరం లేదు కదా. అల్టిమేట్లీ అది బర్న్ చేసి నువ్వు ఈజీ, అదేమన్నా ఈజ్ ఇట్ అ ఫ్యాక్ట్? Yeah, hydrogen fuel is a recent development. That is the reason why there is a hydrogen, national green hydrogen mission got started. So we'll talk about that also. But understood, right? These are the main key takeaways. ఇంతకు మించి ఇక్కడ ఏం లేదు. This COP is nothing much. ఇది అర్థమైతే చాలు. So next one, what is this global stock take? I've already told all those things. It is like taking inventory or those registry. What you have done, what you are doing, what you are going to do. Each stock take is 2-year process that happens every 5 years. This is important. Every 5 years ki stock take తీసుకుంటారు. How many a process ఎంత కాలం పడుతుంది ఇది? Every 2 years పడుతుంది ఆ ప్రాసెస్ అంతా జరగడానికి. It may take. So it is a process for the countries and the stakeholder to see whether they are collectively making progress towards meeting the goals of the Paris Climate Agreement and where they are not. It means the same thing which I have told. Ultimately 2030 కి మీరు ఏం చేయాలనుకున్నారు, ఏం చేశారు, ఏం చేయలేదు. what you are doing, what you have. So important themes to consider. Deenlo vachina themes entante, first one, we have already discussed this, right? Loss and damage fund to compensate the poor states, administered by whom? World Bank. Next one, replenishment of green climate fund. We heard green climate fund is for what? Overall UNFCCC, overall UNFCCC కి దీన్ని ఏం చేయమన్నారు? రిప్లెనిష్మెంట్ అంటే ఏంటంటే ఎక్స్ట్రా యాడ్ చేయమంటున్నారు, మోర్ ఫండింగ్ చేయమంటున్నారు. గ్రీన్ క్లైమేట్ ఫండ్. అడాప్టేషన్ ఫండ్ ఇస్ ఫర్ అడాప్టేషన్ ఫండ్. Kyoto is for greenhouse gases. So next one, Warsaw International Mechanism for Loss and Damage, same thing. Next one, Santiago Network. This is important. Remember, this is important. It may come on the paper. This is also nothing much. For averting, minimizing and addressing loss and damage under the Warsaw International Mechanism for Loss and Damage facilitates access to knowledge resources. So oka network undi. It is something like portal which has these things, knowledge, resources and technical things help cheyadaniki. That is called what? Santiago Network. So again the Santiago ultimately relates to what? UNFCCC for loss and damage. Got it? Santiago Network. Got it? So next one, Global Cooling Pledge in collaboration with the Cool Coalition of the UNEP as a delivery partner. Again, ఇది ఎందుకు వచ్చిందంటే అర్థమైందా మీకు? ఎందుకు ఏం చెప్పారు? డబల్ ద ఎనర్జీ ఎఫిషియన్సీ. So next one, important themes to consider. Again the same thing. Global Faith Leaders Summit. So who are these faith leaders? It's all part of this COP28. ఇవి ఏంటంటే ఎక్స్ట్రా అపెండేజెస్, అంటే చుట్టుపక్కల దాని పక్కన జరిగినవన్నీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ మనకు అంతే. సో గ్లోబల్ ఫెయిత్ లీడర్ సమిట్, నథింగ్ మచ్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ సమ్ ముస్లిం హెడ్స్, పోప్, ఆల్ దోస్ థింగ్స్. అంటే ఏంటంటే ఒక వరల్డ్ కోసం, సాలిడారిటీ కోసం నిలబడడానికి దే హ్యావ్ సపోర్టెడ్ దిస్ కాప్. దట్స్ ఇట్. గ్లోబల్ ఫెయిత్ లీడర్స్ సమిట్. నెక్స్ట్ వన్, ఫారెస్ట్ అండ్ క్లైమేట్ లీడర్స్ పార్ట్నర్షిప్. An alliance of 26 countries launched at when? COP27 that have pledged the halt and reverse the forest loss by 2030. This initiative is designed to build on the Glasgow Forest and Land Use Declaration made in the COP26. It again got surfaced. అంటే ఏం జరుగుతుందో అర్థమవుతుందా మీకు? ఎప్పుడో జరిగిన వీటిలో మళ్ళీ మాట్లాడుతూ ఉంటారు. Until when? 2030 దాకా it will come. వస్తానండి. ఒక టార్గెట్ 2030 ఫిక్స్ అయిందంటే ప్రతి కాప్లో యూ కెన్ సీ దెమ్. సో దట్స్ ఇట్. నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఇస్ వాట్? అలియన్స్ ఆఫ్ ఛాంపియన్స్. విల్ టాక్ అబౌట్ దీస్ థింగ్స్. సో లాస్ట్ వన్ సి చూడండి ఇక్కడ ఏంటిది? ఆయిల్ అండ్ గ్యాస్ డీకార్బనైజేషన్ చార్టర్ సైన్డ్ బై ద 50 fossil fuel companies co-launched with the Saudi Arabia. The charter pledged to end gas flaring by 2030, zero out methane emissions and align with the net zero by 2050. It's just an oil gas. See, ఏదైనా సరే ఫాజిల్ ఫ్యూయల్కి సంబంధించినది ఏ కాప్లో నుంచి వచ్చింది? 28. దిస్ ద కాప్, ఫాజిల్ ఫ్యూయల్ రిలేటెడ్, COP 28. సో జెండర్, ఇట్ వాస్ అర్లియర్ కేమ్ జెండర్ యాక్షన్ ప్లాన్ COP 25. ఏంటిది? మాడ్రిడ్. ఆన్ జెండర్ గురించి మాట్లాడిన ప్లాన్ ఏంటి? మాడ్రిడ్ ప్లాన్. COP 25 లీమా, పెరు. గ్లోబల్ రెన్యూవబుల్స్ అండ్ ఎనర్జీ ఎఫిషియన్సీ ప్లెడ్జ్. ఇందా చూసామా, గుర్తుందా? డిడ్ యూ రిమెంబర్? ద ప్లెడ్జ్ స్టిపులేట్స్ దట్ సిగ్నేటరీస్ కమిట్ టు వర్క్ టుగెదర్ టు ట్రిపుల్ ద వరల్డ్స్ ఇన్స్టాల్డ్ రెన్యూవబుల్. సేమ్ థింగ్. దానికి మాట్లాడడానికి దే హ్యావ్ ఎ ప్లెడ్జ్ ఫర్ ఇట్. సో 11,000 gigawatts by when? 2030. And to collectively double the global average annual rate of energy efficiency improvements from around 2% to 4% every year. That point is important. Ultimately 4% కాదు, 4% every year. Got it? Triple ఎప్పటికి? Triple RE by 2030. Energy efficiency, double energy efficiency every year 4% till 2030. So yeah, this is an important one. Majlis. చదవండి what it says. Understood? Holding a majlis on 10 December, an Emirati tradition of bringing together a small curated groups to discuss specific challenges in an open, bold and solution oriented way. So majlis అనేది చూసారు కదా ఇప్పుడు. So instead of this Talanova dialogue, there may be a chance of putting this majlis. Got it? What I have told? అర్థమైందా? అది రీజనల్ డైలాగ్. ఇక్కడ రీజనల్ డైలాగ్ తలనోవానే కదా, ఎవరిది? ఫిజీది. ఆ యూఏఈకి రీజనల్ డైలాగ్ ఏంటి? మజ్లిస్. గాట్ ఇట్? దేర్ మే బి అలాంటి క్వశ్చన్స్ ఫ్రేమ్ చేస్తారు. సో బీ అవేర్ ఆఫ్ దోస్ థింగ్స్. ఒకవేళ వస్తే పెట్టకపోతే మిమ్మల్ని ఏం చేయమంటారు? సో ఇన్ దిస్ దెర్ ఇస్ అ న్యూ కాన్సెప్ట్. ఇట్ మే కమ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద ఫ్యూచర్, బట్ జస్ట్ చూడండి అంతే, ఏం అవసరం లేదు అక్కడ. ఫాజిల్ ఫ్యూయల్ నాన్ ప్రొలిఫరేషన్ ట్రీటీ. ఫాజిల్ ఫ్యూయల్, దీస్ ఆర్ ఆల్ న్యూ థింగ్స్. పేపర్లో కూడా ఎక్కడ నాకు కూడా కనపడలేదు. ఐ హ్యావ్ పిక్ ఫ్రమ్ ఆల్ దోస్ సైట్స్ నుంచి తీసినవి. ఫాజిల్ ఫ్యూయల్ న్యూ నాన్ ప్రొలిఫరేషన్ treaty. This initiative is building a movement for the fossil fuel phase out and a fair energy transition. Fossil fuels are the greatest cause of premature deaths on the planet. 1 in 5 deaths worldwide are from the air pollution due to the fossil fuels. This declaration is important. What is this declaration? Lofoten declaration. Tittatam kaadu, something, don't, I'm not scolding you, but Lofoten declaration related to what? Fossil fuels. So fossil fuels are weapons of mass destruction. So the proposal has now, this is in the proposal stage on only, but it is not 100% raలేదు, but in this future lo వచ్చే chances untadi. So next one is Alliance of Champions for Food System. Will be coalition of the countries united by shared ambitions, nothing much. Member of the ACF is for governments only. Remember, it is an intergovernmental agency. So again, joint co-chairs are Brazil, Norway, Sierra Leone alongside founding members of the Cambodia and Rwanda plan to the lead way. So ఒక పాయింట్ మీరు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సింది ఏంటంటే, అలియన్స్ ఆఫ్ ఛాంపియన్స్ ఫర్ ద ఫుడ్ సిస్టంలో ఈజ్ ఇండియా ఏ పార్ట్ ఎట్ ప్రెజెంట్? ఈజ్ ఇండియా ఫౌండింగ్ మెంబర్ నౌ? లేదు కదా, ఆ పాయింట్ ఒకటి గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. లేదు అంతే. వాట్ అబౌట్ దిస్ వన్? ఫాజిల్ ఫ్యూయల్ నాన్ ప్రొలిఫరేషన్ ఇండియా ఇస్ ఎ పార్ట్ అట్ ప్రెజెంట్? నో. ఓకేనా? మోస్ట్లీ అలానే అడుగుతాడు. కొత్త ఏమైనా అడిగంటే ఇండియా పార్టా కాదా అంటాడు అంతే. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ అన్ ఇంపార్టెంట్, వెరీ 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 ఇంపార్టెంట్ కోalition. CCAC, క్లైమేట్ క్లీన్ ఎయిర్ coalition. This climate clean air coalition is mostly, it's not mostly, it is exclusively for the short-lived pollutants. For what? Short-lived pollutants. So it was came 2012, very 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 important. CCAC. It is also in sidelines of this UNFCCC నుంచి వచ్చిన ఒక అపెండేజ్ అంతే. ఇది కూడా 2012 టైంలో వచ్చింది. Got it? Governments of Bangladesh, Canada. So India is not a founding member, but now India is a member. Now India is a member of this climate and clean air coalition, but India is not a founding member. These are the members along with the UNEP initiated efforts to treat what? Short-lived climate pollutants. So ప్రతిదానికి ఒక ఎయిమ్ ఉంటుంది. అల్టిమేట్లీ దిస్ క్లైమేట్ అండ్ క్లీన్ ఎయిర్ కోalition దేనికి సంబంధించింది? షార్ట్, that too only 4 ఉంటాయి. We'll talk about it. It is a voluntary partnership. It is what? Partnership of 160 governments, intergovernmental organizations, non-governmental organizations. So founded in 2002. It is a multi-stakeholder platform. It is not intergovernmental only. Do you know the difference between intergovernmental and multi-stakeholder? తెలుసా? Nothing much. Only governments కలిసి ఏదైనా coalition or organization form చేస్తే only the governments will come and form. If they form an organization, then it is called what? Intergovernmental. If something NGOs, if something international organizations are part of it, then it is called what? Multi-stakeholder. Multi means different people unnar kabatti. Got it? This is a very difference you need to know. UPSC ఇలాంటి కాన్సన్ట్రేట్ చేస్తుంది. సో వర్కింగ్ టు రెడ్యూస్ ద పవర్ఫుల్ బట్ షార్ట్ లివ్డ్ పొల్యూటెంట్స్ వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయో అవే ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో టెల్ మీ వాట్ ఆర్ దేర్ ఇన్ ద క్యోటో? CO2, CH4, N2O, SF6, group of hydrofluorocarbons, perfluorocarbons. Remember, next coming to here, what are the four here? Methane. Next one, black carbon. Next one, hydrofluorocarbons. Next one, tropospheric ozone. See, if you see here, methane, hydrofluorocarbons, which are part of this Kyoto, right? Connection ఉందా? దోహా అమెండ్మెంట్ వచ్చిందా? ఎప్పుడు వచ్చింది? 2012. దోహా అమెండ్మెంట్ ఎప్పుడు వచ్చింది? 2012. There is a connection between them. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో రిమెంబర్ దీస్ ఫోర్ ఆర్ వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ షార్ట్ లివ్డ్ పొల్యూటెంట్స్ ఈవెన్ దో దే ఆర్ షార్ట్ లివ్డ్ మీన్స్ తెలుసా? డూ నో వాట్ ద మీనింగ్ ఆఫ్ షార్ట్ లివ్డ్ మీన్స్? లైఫ్ సైకిల్ ఆఫ్ దట్ పొల్యూటెంట్ ఈస్ షార్ట్ బట్ దే ఆర్ వెరీ ఇంపాక్ట్ హ్యూజ్ ఇంపాక్ట్ ఆన్ ద గ్రీన్ హౌస్ గ్యాస్ గ్లోబల్ వార్మింగ్. సో ఫస్ట్ వన్ ఈస్ మీథేన్, బ్లాక్ కార్బన్, hydrofluorocarbons, and next one is tropospheric ozone. Tropospheric ozone is bad for environmental pollution, climate change. So could achieve the reduction at least 40% of the methane and up to 70% of the black carbon compared by 2050. So remember, there is no chance of asking like this, but what they will ask is phase out of these by 2070, 2080 వాడిస్తూ ఒక డేట్ వేసుకుంటాడు. He will put some date of some year. What he ultimately says in the statement is these four pollutants part of this climate and clean air coalition are going to phase out by 2070. Is it correct? ఇక్కడ ఈ టార్గెట్స్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సిన అవసరం కూడా లేదు. See 40%, it is not phasing out, 100% removal, right? Next one is 70% of black carbon. It is not 100% removal, right? If you see the HFC is also 99.5%. It is not 100% removal. అర్థమవుతుందా ఇంటెన్షన్ లాజిక్? అర్థమవుతుందా? ఇక్కడ ఇవి గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవచ్చు. there is no need of remembering or mugging up all these percentage targets in this. What how they will frame a question is, how they will frame a sentence is ultimately phase down, phase out, ultimately phase out అంటాడు. So it's not ultimately phasing out, it's reducing. Got it? So what are the four pollutants under this climate clean air coalition? So those are short lived pollutants. It is exclusive for short lived. It is administered by whom? UNEP, United Nations Environmental Program. The climate and clean air coalition and the UNEP programs global methane assessment. So ఇలా కూడా అడగచ్చు, గ్లోబల్ methane assessment ఎవరు చేశారు? CCAC plus UNEP. Next one, breathe life campaign. There is a campaign, a joint campaign of whom? CCAC plus WHO plus UNEP plus World Bank to mobilize cities, individuals to protect our. So remember, CCAC is a part of it. So you can, there may be a chance of WHO. If you know logical ga apply cheste, if you don't know these organizations, మీకు ఆర్గనైజేషన్ తెలియలేదనుకో, ఒకవేళ లాజికల్గా మైండ్ అప్లై చేయాలనుకో, బ్రీత్ లైఫ్, బ్రీత్. సో దేర్ మే బీ ఎ ఛాన్స్ ఆఫ్ వరల్డ్ హెల్త్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్, రైట్? మే బీ ఎ ఛాన్స్. Next one, UNEP, there may be a chance, right? Maybe. Environmental protection. Next one, World Bank, that you need to remember. Next, another important great thing is for what? CCAC. First, ఇవి assume చేసుకోండి, లాజికల్గా ఆలోచించండి. Next one is what? Global methane pledge. Very 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 important one. Of all the things, this is a very important. Global methane pledge. It was launched on the sidelines of COP 26 in 2021 by the climate CCAC partners with United States and European Commission. Global methane pledge ఎవరెవరు? CCAC plus European Commission. Where? COP 26. So GMP has now over 15. The global methane pledge is a voluntary framework. Is a mandatory or voluntary? But remember one point: 30% by, I think so, 2030. You need to reduce how much emissions of methane? 30% by 2030. So India is not part of it. అర్థమైందా? Even though, see, ఇలాంటి you need to write in your answers. Even though India working for reduction in the emissions of these global methane, all those things, but it is not part of those things. You need to look over. ఎందుకంటే it may look catchy. ఇండియా పార్ట్ అయి ఉండొచ్చు కదా, మీథేన్కి ఇంత చేస్తున్నాం కదా, దేర్ మే బీ ఏ ఛాన్స్ అనిపించచ్చు కదా, బట్ దీస్ ఆర్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్స్. సో గ్లోబల్ మీథేన్ ప్లెడ్జ్ COP 26, 3 points you need to remember. COP 26 plus next one is ఎవరెవరు పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ ఉన్నారు అక్కడ? CCAC plus US plus EU, European Commission. So next one is what? 30% by 2030 regarding what? Methane. So National Clean Air Program, it is a India's program. It concentrated two elements. One is what? PM5 and 2.5. Yeah, PM 2.5 and PM10. How much? 20% by 20 to 30% by 2024. So even though it is a 2019, still 2024 is there, right? It is a potential question of your next prelims. National Clean Air Program. Is it applicable to all cities? Only 1 or 2 cities. అంటే ఇండియా వైజ్ అంత అప్లై అవుద్దంటే లేదు, అవ్వదు. ఫస్ట్ పాయింట్ ఏంటో రిమెంబర్. సెకండ్ పాయింట్ ఏంటంటే విచ్ మినిస్ట్రీ డీల్స్ విత్ ఇట్? మినిస్ట్రీ ఆఫ్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్. ఓకే. సో సెకండ్ పాయింట్ ఏంటి? హౌ మెనీ పొల్యూటెంట్స్ ఆర్ దేర్? PM 2.5 and PM10. ఇట్స్ a 50% reduction, 20 to 30% by 20. ఈ పాయింట్స్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటే చాలు. గాట్ ఇట్? సో ఇండియా లెడ్ ఇనిషియేటివ్స్ అట్ COP 28. ఓవర్ కొడుతుందా? అయిపోయిందిలే, జస్ట్ ఒక 2 slides ఉంటే అయిపోతుంది, నేను కూడా ఆపేస్తాను. బట్ జస్ట్ హోల్డ్ ఫర్ సమ్ 10 to 15 minutes, ట్రై చేయండి. ఈవెన్ దో లాట్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఉండొచ్చు, బట్ దిస్ PDF పెట్టుకుంటే మోస్ట్లీ యూ కెన్ రైట్, దట్ ఐ కెన్ గ్యారంటీ యూ. UNFCCCకి సంబంధం ఇచ్చిన ఏ క్వశ్చన్ వచ్చినా సరే నెక్స్ట్ 3-4 years ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ దిస్ PDF, ఐ కెన్ గ్యారంటీ యూ. ఈ 28 దాకా మిగిలిన నాకు సంబంధం లేదు, నెక్స్ట్ వచ్చే నాకు తెలియదు, బట్ అప్ టు 28 ఐ కెన్ గ్యారంటీ యూ. మోస్ట్లీ నేను మిస్ చేయలేదు. వాట్ ఆర్ ద ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఐ హ్యావ్ పిక్డ్. ఓకే. సో జస్ట్ హోల్డ్ ఫర్ 10 to 15 minutes, విల్ ఎండ్ ఇట్ అప్. ఓకే, కొంచెం లోపల నుంచి తీసుకొచ్చుకోండి. సో గ్లోబల్ రివర్ సిటీస్ అలియాన్స్, జస్ట్ సీ ద పాయింట్స్ చూసి పెట్టుకున్నాను. గ్లోబల్ రివర్ సిటీస్. రివర్ మీన్స్ అల్టిమేట్లీ ఇండియాలో ఏం రివర్ ఉంది? ఇంపార్టెంట్ రివర్. వాట్ ఇస్ ద ఇంపార్టెంట్ రివర్? గంగా, రైట్? సో గంగా మీన్స్ విచ్ మినిస్ట్రీ? అయిపోయింది అక్కడ. సో యూ కెన్ కనెక్ట్ అంతే. సో నథింగ్ మచ్ హియర్. ఇట్ వాస్ లాంచ్డ్ at COP 28 led by the National Mission of Clean Ganga under the Ministry of Jal Shakti Alliance covering 275 plus global river cities in 11 countries. So not in all countries, in 11 countries. These countries may come, may not come, but what's their aim is sustainable river centric development. So river chuttu you are polluting the industries or constructions చేస్తున్నప్పుడు you need to mindful. That is overall regarding this global river cities alliance. So next one, green credit initiative. India launched the green credit initiative here 28, a create participatory global platform for exchange of innovation, environmental programs and the instruments. There are two main priorities of the initiatives are water conservation and afforestation. ఈ 2 points గుర్తుపెట్టుకుంటే చాలు మీరు. green credit initiatives. So what are the two important things? Water and afforestation. The main purpose of the initiative is to boost voluntary environmental activities, tree plantation, everything, nothing much. But remember, regarding what? Water and afforestation. Global River Cities Alliance is for what? Rivers only. River-led development. Do you know, anybody heard the word of Ardha Ganga? Ardha Ganga అనే వర్డ్ విన్నారా? సగం గంగా. ఇప్పుడు ఏం మాట్లాడుకున్నాం? సస్టైనబుల్ రివర్ సెంట్రిక్ డెవలప్మెంట్. ఇండియన్ వర్షన్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ సస్టైనబుల్ రివర్ సెంట్రిక్ డెవలప్మెంట్ ఈస్ అర్ధ గంగా. అంతే, అక్కడ ఏం లేదు, తల బాదుకోకండి, ఈజీ. సో this is a word I found very interesting. Ecocide. Mass environmental destruction to be made crime at international criminal. దీన్ని చేయాలని కోరుకుంటున్నారు. ఎకోసైడ్ అంటే మీన్స్ వాట్? ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ ఎఫెక్ట్ వల్ల దెర్ ఇస్ అ లాస్ ఆఫ్ లైఫ్. ఎకోసైడ్ గుర్తుపెట్టుకో, ఇలాంటి టర్మ్సే వస్తాయి. ఐఎమ్ నాట్ వెరీ కంఫర్టబుల్ విత్ దట్. సో కమింగ్ టు దిస్, దీస్ ఆర్ PYQs. We just see it with reference to the New York Declaration of the Forests. So which of the following? Yeah, just remove this one. So next, coming to this momentum for the change, we have discussed this, right? What is the answer? So next one, INDC, intended nationally determined contribution, is sometimes seen in use. Just tell me the answer. B. అర్థమైందా? B only. Which of the following statements regarding the green? Just answer. It is intended to assist the developing countries in adaptation and mitigation practices to counter climate change. One only ne kada? Yeah, mitigation adaptation dono. It is founded under the aegis of UNEP. Ultimately it is for World Bank only. So next one, consider the following statements. Climate and Clean Air Coalition to reduce the short-lived climate policy is a unique initiative G20. It is not. I have already told you when I am discussing the CCAC, there are only 5 countries. Starting lo Bangladesh. Chusunte, if you have seen, yeah, this one, Bangladesh, Canada, Ghana, Mexico, Sweden. If you know Bangladesh is G20 country. Is Bangladesh G20 country? No. So remove that Bangladesh. Ghana is a G20 country. కాదు కదా, అది తెలిస్తే చాలు మీకు. ఇఫ్ యూ నో దట్. సి అంతే. ఎందుకు చెప్తున్నా అంటే క్వశ్చన్స్ అనేవి ఎలా ఫ్రేమ్ చేస్తారు చూడండి. యూ జస్ట్ కమ్ టు నో హౌ దే ఆర్ ఫ్రేమింగ్ దిస్ క్వశ్చన్స్. నెక్స్ట్, సి దే డోంట్ ఆస్క్ exclusive country names. If you know this G20, who are the part of it, at least if you have some glimpse over those names, Ghana can be not a developed country, right? If you have that sense, minimum sense, Ghana kaadu an oka idea unnappudu G20 tappe kada. Developed. Ghana, did you heard somewhere developing or developed? Super developed kada. So it may not part of this G20, right? Logical ga ఆలోచించండి. If you don't know this G20 also, అది కాదా అన్నప్పుడు కొన్ని కంట్రీస్, if you study those countries, ఇప్పుడు నుంచి ఆ లాజికల్ బిల్డ్ చేసుకోండి. It will help you. So next one, CCAC focus on methane, black carbon and hydrofluorocarbons. True. The word instead of this only. Tropospheric ozone is part of it. Got it? So next one, which of the following statements are correct? Proper design and effective implementation of the UN Red Plus program can significantly contribute to. The word is what? Red or Red Plus? Red Plus means broader term. Kada? So coming to here, protection of biodiversity. Chance unda leda? Broader. Resilience of forest ecosystems. Poverty reduction. I have told about of social inclusion. Broader perspective lo chuskunte right or wrong? What is the answer? 1, 2, 3. With reference to agreement at the UNFCCC in the Paris, so they are asking about what? UNFCCC Paris agreement gurinchi matladu. Which of the following statements is are true? Agreement was signed by all the member countries of the UN. It will go effect in 2017. Is it correct? To came, like for example, I forgot to tell you, if that Paris agreement need to come into the force, 55% emission చేస్తున్న కంట్రీస్ ప్లస్ ఇట్ ఇంక్లూడ్స్ 55 కంట్రీస్. సో అల్టిమేట్లీ ద ఎమిషన్ పర్సంటేజ్ ఎంత ఉండాలి? కంట్రీస్ విచ్ ఆర్ ఎమిటింగ్ 55% ఎమిషన్స్, ఓవరాల్ గ్లోబల్ ఎమిషన్ గ్రీన్ హౌస్ గ్యాస్ ఎమిషన్స్ జరుగుతుంటే 55% ఎమిషన్స్ జరగాలి ఆ కంట్రీస్ ఎవరైతే సైన్ అప్ అవుతున్నారో. దట్ టు ప్లస్ how many? 55 countries. If you pick this one, wrong ela prove chesta chudandi. US no, main contributor no means how it may be reality. This is the logic behind this. The logic teluskondi chalu ante. US not part of it, right? So what is the answer? First question, first point. The agreement was signed by the all members countries of the UN and it will go effect in 2017. Is it right or wrong? Wrong. If you remove the first one, what are the options left behind with you? B, C. The agreement aims to limit the greenhouse action 70 to the rise in the global, that's 2 degrees, 1.5 degrees. Is it correct or wrong? Correct. So next one is 3. Developed countries acknowledge their historical responsibility to global warming and committed to donate 1000. Huh? So what is the answer? B only, right? అర్థమైందా? How to deal with the questions. Learn this skill నేర్చుకోండి చాలు. ఎగ్జాక్ట్ అక్కడ ఏమున్నాయి ఇక్కడ రావు. They will place here. సో PYQ నేనేం చేయలేదు అక్కడ. ఏం చేశాడు ఇక్కడ? ఇంకో 0 ఎక్స్ట్రా పెట్టాడు, అంతే కదా. సో నెక్స్ట్ వన్ దిస్ సేమ్ థింగ్ 2 degrees Celsius 1.5 degrees సేమ్ థింగ్ అక్కడ కాపీ పేస్ట్ చేసి పెట్టాడు అంతే. సో నెక్స్ట్ క్వశ్చన్ ఈస్ we have this one, climate action tracker. This is a 2022 question which monitors the emissions reduction pledges of different countries is A. Just try it. What is the answer? C, B, A. ఇందాక ఏ COP దగ్గర మాట్లాడాను? COP 26. సో వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ మే బి, మన దేని గురించి మాట్లాడిన దాని నుంచి ఓవరాల్ ద కన్వెన్షన్ వాట్ ఈస్ ద కన్వెన్షన్ విచ్ ఆర్ టాకింగ్ నౌ? UNFCCC. సో సైడ్ లైన్స్ కొన్ని చెప్తుంటారు. సో వన్ ఆఫ్ ద ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్ ఇస్ క్లైమేట్ యాక్షన్ ట్రాక్. ఇట్స్ అ వెరీ ఈజీ, ఫర్ మీ ఇట్స్ వెరీ ఈజీ, బట్ there may be a confusion at this wing of these may, but remember nothing much here. It's a committee under the UNFCCC. Got it? This is a PYQ question, 2022 I think so. So it is there in the news, 5th July. It is 2022 paper, July 2021 న్యూస్ ఇది. సో రిమెంబర్ 2022లో అడిగింది. సో వాట్ ఈస్ ద న్యూస్? 1 year ముందు న్యూస్. దిస్ క్వశ్చన్ ఈస్ రిగార్డింగ్ దిస్ 1 year ప్రియర్స్ న్యూస్. మహారాష్ట్ర ఈజ్ నౌ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద అండర్ 2 కోalition. ఈ క్వశ్చన్ ఎక్కడ చూసారు మీరు? తలనోవా డైలాగ్. యూ హ్యావ్ సీన్ దట్. తర్వాత ఆప్షన్లో ఏముంది? అండర్ 2 కోalition ఉందా? అగైన్ ఏ రిపీటెడ్ టాపిక్. అర్థమవుతుందా? వాట్ ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్ ఈస్ PYQs ఆర్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో అది ఈజీగా చేయొచ్చు. ఇంటర్నేషనల్ ఎనర్జీ ఏజెన్సీ, డస్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ ఎనర్జీ ఏజెన్సీ ఎనీ పార్ట్ అండర్ 2 కోalition? సో ఇఫ్ యూ రిమూవ్ దిస్ 5th పాయింట్, వాట్ ఈస్ ఆన్సర్? వాట్ ఈస్ ఆన్సర్? బి అనా? ఇంకా మిగిలిందా? 5 ఆప్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఏమేమి ఉన్నాయి? 1, 2, 3. సో వాట్ ఈస్ ఆప్షన్ లెఫ్ట్ బిహైండ్? B. See, they will give some kind of clues కానీ కొన్ని ఎలిమెంట్స్ అలా వదిలేస్తారు. సో దాన్ని మనం యూనిట్ చదవండి. దట్స్ వాట్ ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు సే. ఆల్మా ఆటా డిక్లరేషన్ అని దాంట్లో మెన్షన్ చేశారు. బట్ వాట్ యూనిట్ టు డూ, యూనిట్ టు మేక్ ఆల్మా ఆటా డిక్లరేషన్ నోట్స్ గురించి. హేగ్ కోడ్ ఆఫ్ కండక్ట్ అని మెన్షన్ చేశారు. యూనిట్ టు మేక్ అబౌట్ ఇట్. ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ దట్ ఐడియా, అండర్ టూ కోalition నువ్వు మెన్షన్ చేసుకొని రాసుకొని ఉంటే, ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ రిటర్న్ సంథింగ్ రిగార్డింగ్ దట్ అండర్ టూ కోalition, యూ కెన్ ఆన్సర్ దిస్ క్వశ్చన్, రైట్? అర్థం కావట్లేదా? ఎదురవుతుంది. జస్ట్ హ్యావ్ సమ్ పేషెన్స్. సి వై ఐఎమ్ టెలింగ్, యూ డోంట్ నీడ్, ఇది తెలిసినా తెలియకపోయినా అక్కడ అవసరం లేదు నీకు. ఇట్ వోంట్ ఫరక్ పడదు ఎక్కువ. ఎందుకంటే ఇఫ్ యూ నో దిస్ స్ట్రాంగ్గా తెలిసి ఉంటే ఈ ఎక్కువ ఆప్షన్ ఎలిమినేట్ చేస్తే అయిపోయింది కదా. సో మేబీ జనాలు హూ హ్యావ్ డన్ దిస్ పేపర్, దే ఫైండ్ దిస్ ద హార్డెస్ట్ క్వశ్చన్. It is out of the box question, but it's not out of the box question. Within the box question is a very easy question if you have some analyzed with the PYQs. అక్కడ ఐక్యూ కూడా అవసరం లేదు. ఇఫ్ యూ సీ హియర్, ఐక్యూ కూడా అవసరం లేదు ఇక్కడ. పీవైక్యూ ఒకవేళ నువ్వు చదువు ఉంటే అండర్ టు కోalition, ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ స్టడీడ్ వెల్, దాని మీద ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ సమ్ గ్లిమ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్, ఐఏ పార్ట్ కాదు, యూఎన్ఎఫ్ ఈజ్ అ పార్ట్. గాట్ ఇట్? సో అర్లియర్ దీస్ ఎలిమినేషన్ టెక్నిక్స్ వర్క్డ్ అవుట్. But I don't know about 2024, God knows. So this is the same thing. Okay, fine. So last at least 5 minutes. What are the India's initiatives? Just know it. I'm not going to discuss all those things. But remember, what are the India's initiatives on climate change? So lot are there. But remember, there is a plan called National Action Plan on Climate Change 2008. Just go home, make a note on these 8 missions. These are 100% important. 100 means 100% important. What is the reason is 2008 to 2023, how many years?
15 years.
So it's a landmark year. There may be a huge chance. Huge means hugest chance. Got it? So just go through these missions. So just go through this, nothing much here. So this is the last page, don't worry. 2022 mains question. These two GS2 lo, GS3 lo mains questions. 2022 questions. What are how many questions? 2 questions. I'll establish a link here. C of UNFCCC. మనం మాట్లాడే దేని గురించి ఇప్పుడు దాకా? UNFCCC. So coming to here, do you think India will meet 50% of the energy need? Where you have seen this one? Panchamrit. Got it? It's a part of UNFCCC. Got it? Needs from renewable energy by 2030. Justify your answer. How will the shift of subsidies from fossil fuels to renewable help achieve the above objective? So, దీనికి how can you write an answer? సో ఇందాక ముందు మెన్షన్ చేసిన క్లైమేట్ యాక్టివిటీస్ ఏమైతే ఉన్నాయో, యూ నీడ్ టు మెన్షన్ దెమ్, బట్ యూ నీడ్ టు రిమెంబర్ ఫస్ట్ పాయింట్ హియర్ ఇస్ సబ్సిడీస్ ఫ్రమ్ ఫాజిల్ ఫ్యూయల్స్ టు రెన్యూబుల్స్. సో యూ కెనాట్ అల్టిమేట్లీ షిఫ్ట్ ఇట్, రైట్? ఒక ఫేజ్లో ఇలా కొట్టంగానే మొత్తం సబ్సిడీస్ దానిలోకి వేయలేము కదా. యూ నీడ్ టు స్లోలీ డైవర్ట్ ఇట్. సో ఫర్ దట్ యూ నీడ్ టు గివ్ సమ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్. PM Kusum is a scheme. Anybody heard? PM Kusum. Solar panels. You need to mention those kind of examples where this subsidy is there. Okay, so next one, some targets are, so those are things, but remember this is based on what? UNFCCC Panchamrit strategy. Again, this Panchamrit strategy is very important for you. So ikkada em adigaadu 50% of energy reads from the renewable energy annadu. Next one, 500 gigawatts ela cheyagalugutavu. How you can make the target of 500 gigawatts? There may be a question. Next one, net zero 2070. What are its initiatives by India? You need to prepare in those dimensions. Konja futuristic think. Next question, see here. Discuss global warming. Very easy question. And mention its effects on the global climate. Explain control measures to bringing down the level of greenhouse gases which cause global warming in the light of Kyoto Protocol 1997 to 2022. How many years? 25 years. వచ్చిందా ఇందా స్టార్టింగ్లో చెప్పానా ఐ విల్ కనెక్ట్ విత్ ద లాస్ట్ థింగ్ అని 25 years ఫుల్ఫిల్ చేయటం వల్ల దెర్ ఇస్ అన్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఆఫ్ క్యోటో ప్రోటోకాల్ ఆన్ ద పేపర్. సో UNFCCC is very important. So I have covered as much as I can. So మీకు ఇంకా క్యాన్ ఉంటే మేక్ ఇట్ పాసిబుల్. ఎనీ డౌట్స్? సో మేబీ మీ మైండ్ దొబ్బేసి ఉంటుంది. టు బీ ఫ్రాంక్, ఐ నో వెన్ ఐఎమ్ కమింగ్ టు ద క్లాస్ ఐ ప్రిపేర్డ్, బట్ ఈవెన్ దో it may block your mind or something, but the content which I have picked is very valuable content. It is not very out of the box thing. At least you have some, దీన్నే కొంచెం రివైజ్ చేయండి. That's what I am going to say. You heard the class, right? Revise these things. There may be a chance, use your IQ. Okay? Surely it may help you. I thought of taking current affairs also, but it won't be possible. I know it won't be possible. I tried to actually 2.5 hours అనుకున్నాను, but it has reached 3 hours. But last 5 minutes, we just revise the things first నుంచి. Just bear with me. ఫాస్ట్ రివైజ్ చేద్దాం. అగైన్ మర్చిపోకూడదు, ముందే చెప్తున్నా, రివైజ్ చేయండి. ఇట్స్ మై కైండ్లీ రిక్వెస్టింగ్. చేయకపోతే నా సంబంధం ఏం లేదు. సో UNFCCC సెక్రటరీ ఎక్కడ ఉంది? బాన్, జర్మనీ. సో రిమెంబర్ 1992, 1994 అల్టిమేట్లీ UNFCCC ఫర్ గ్రీన్ హౌస్ గ్యాస్ ఎమిషన్స్. సో COP జనరల్గా ఎవరు ప్రిసైడ్ చేస్తారు? ఎన్విరాన్మెంటల్ మినిస్టర్ విల్ బి ప్రిసైడెడ్. సో దేర్ ఆర్ 2 బాడీస్, సబ్సిడరీ బాడీస్, SBST అండ్ SBI. సో నెక్స్ట్ వన్ బెర్లిన్ మ్యాండేట్, నెక్స్ట్ వన్ క్యోటో ప్రోటోకాల్ 1997. ఎప్పుడు వచ్చింది? 2005లో మాంట్రియల్లో ఇట్ కేమ్ ఇన్ టు ద ఫోర్స్, రైట్? So till now how many years got completed? 25 years got completed. So you know it already, question adiga, maybe chance films adagachu, but US never ratified. Ultimate aim of this Kyoto protocol is for what? Reduce greenhouse gas emission. What are the 6 gases? Okay, fine. Ultimately the theme is for what? CBDR, common but differentiated responsibilities. NX1, NX2, NXB, non-NX, LDC. NX2 is for what? Financial and technical support. NXB is what? Who are part of this Kyoto targets. Okay. Next one, clean development mechanism. You need to establish an element in a other country. Who? Non-NXB country. Join. This is clean development. Next one is emission trading. 2 things are there. First one is emission trading, next one is offset trading. Emission trading means what? Selling unused to where? Other countries. Offset trading is for what? Investing some amount of money. So next one, joint implementation, you know this. So wait, Berlin mandate, COP adaptation, okay. New Delhi declaration 2002. Montreal, Canada ఏమొచ్చింది? This Kyoto protocol. So next one, Bali action plan. So if, this is also nothing much here, but remember Poland, this one 2008 is important. Adaptation fund వచ్చింది. Adaptation fund is for what? Kyoto protocol. So next one, Ponzan strategy. You know the difference between UN red and UN red plus, right? So next one, Copenhagen. Mentioning of green climate fund. Don't confuse with green climate fund and adaptation fund. So next one, Cancun lo ochindi. So they have mentioned all those things. Climate technology center. Does it funds? No. So green climate fund. Secretariat is where? In town. So next one, who is the implementing agent in India? NABARD. So Doha amendment for the Kyoto protocol. UNFCCC we have already discussed. Warsaw, Poland, this is the origin for this present COP28, loss and damage. And this INDC, intended nationally determined contributions. So COP15 Paris, we have told 2 degrees, 1.5 degrees. So next one, 100 billion per year. So next one, you need to submit NDCs every 5 years. There is a mentioning of global stock take also. Next, Marrakesh, Morocco. We have already talked. VAARE regarding what? Agriculture. African agriculture. So next one, mission innovation, break energy venture. Next one, Germany or Bonn Fizzy, Talanova dialogue. Powering past coal elements. Is India a member of it? No. Madrid. Okay, nothing much. Glasgow. So of all this, India had done some great things. What are those? One Sun Declaration. Next one, Panchamrit strategy. Tell me, 50%, 500 gigawatts, 45%, 1 billion tons, net zero by 2070. Sharam, nahi. So Sharam al Sheikh. So loss and damage, దీని గురించి మాట్లాడడం స్టార్ట్ చేశారు. So present, okay, fine. Global shield plans for climate disasters. Aware is for water with WMO. So leadership, lead IT India and Sweden. Next one, FAST is for what? Agriculture and food. Next one, IR, infrastructure resilience, of part of this coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure. India has started this CDRI. Okay. Next one, we got it right. GST will happen. Loss and damage first came into the being. Unabated coal, heard right? So next one, oil and gas pledge has happened, recognition of health. And next one, cooling technologies, energy. What is the pledge which was given? Triple renewable energy, double energy efficiency per year to 4% per year. Global stock take, yeah, every 5 years. Loss and damage fund, Santiago network, heard? Global faith, okay. Majlis, law front dictated for fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty. The alliance of champions for the governments only. Climate analysis, short-lived pollutants, 4 pollutants are there. By UNEP. Breathe life, global methane pledge. India is not part of this global methane pledge. National Clean Air Program, PM 2.5, PM10, 20 to 30%, not full reducing it. 1 or 2 non-enactment cities. Next one, River Alliance, Green Credit Scheme. So that's it. Okay, doubts in here? Do you have any doubts? Material efforts evident అని మనకి ఏం తెలియదు. It's a step they have taken, but అదే ప్రొలాంగ్ అవుతానే ఉంటుంది. ఇంకా అలా మాట్లాడుకోవాలనుకుంటే యుఎన్ పెద్ద బాడీ ఏం కాదు, బట్ ఏంటి అంటే ఇట్స్ బిల్డింగ్ సైకలాజికల్ ఆస్పెక్ట్స్ ఇన్ ద హ్యూమన్ మైండ్స్. ఈ కాప్స్ జరగటం వల్ల ఏంటంటే యూ విల్ బీ అవేర్ ఆఫ్ సంథింగ్. నీ అంతకు ఇండివిజువల్గా నువ్వు కంట్రోల్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏదైనా సరే. దట్స్ వాట్ అల్టిమేట్లీ యూ కెన్ మెన్షన్ ఇన్ ద కన్క్లూజన్. ఇండివిజువల్ ఉంటేనే దేర్ మే బి ఎ పాసిబిలిటీ. ఏంటి ఆ క్వశ్చన్ మళ్ళీ అడిగి ఇప్పుడు? ఆఫ్షోర్ అదేనా అడిగింది? మర్చిపోయావా? నిజం అదేనా? మర్చిపోయావు కదా? విండ్దేనా? ఎందుకు అయి ఉండకపోవచ్చు. సి అకార్డింగ్ టు ఇరేనా రిపోర్ట్ ఏమైందంటే 2050 తర్వాత 2025 తర్వాత విండ్ నుండి వచ్చే ఎనర్జీకి ఆ లిమిట్ అంతవరకే ఉంటుంది. నువ్వు ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ ఎక్కడ చేసినా సరే, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇఫ్ యూ నీడ్ సమ్ విండ్ కావాలి అనుకుంటే మోస్ట్లీ కోస్టల్, ఓకే, ఇఫ్ యూ సీ, బట్ winds blow from this side to this side, this side to this side, east to west generally, right? Tropic of Cancer పైన ఒకటి ఉంటుంది, Tropic of exactly 0 degrees పైన ఒకటి ఉంటుంది, 0 degrees కింద ఉంటుంది. You know this, right? So if you know this concept, ఈ బాట్ ఇటు ఫ్లో అవుతున్నప్పుడు మోస్ట్లీ ఇఫ్ యూ సీ దీస్ థింగ్స్, windmills you can mostly see in this Gujarat, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and this Kerala. You may not see at this part, విండ్ ఫ్లో అనేది అకార్డింగ్ అంటే దాన్ని డిజైన్ చేసుకుంటారు కదా. సో దే గాట్ ఎగ్జాస్టెడ్. ఇప్పుడు ఎక్కడ దాకా ఏదైతే పెట్టారో కొన్ని ప్లేసెస్లోనే ఎక్కువ వస్తాయి విండ్ జనరేషన్ అనేది. నువ్వు జనరేషన్ చేయడానికి కొన్ని ప్లేసెస్లో ఆ 2025కి ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 40 గిగావాట్ నుంచి 2020కి దేర్ మే బీ అన్ ఇంక్రీజ్ ఇన్ మినిమమ్ ఆఫ్ 5 gigawatts, మ్యాక్సిమమ్ ఆఫ్ 5 gigawatts. ఎందుకంటే దాని లిమిట్ అంతవరకే. యూ కెనాట్ ఇంప్రూవ్ దట్ లిమిట్ అకార్డింగ్ టు ద స్టడీస్. ఎందుకంటే కొత్తగా పెట్టినా సరే ఇఫ్ యూ పుట్ దోస్ థింగ్స్, దానికి గాలి కాకుండా ఓవర్ నువ్వుతూ అంటాం చెయ్యం కదా. పెట్టచ్చు. ఇట్స్ ఎ క్యాపిటల్ ఇంటెన్సివ్, రైట్? Got it what I'm saying? Solar there may be a chance you can move something, but wind ni ఎప్పటికప్పుడు నువ్వు వెహికల్స్ పదండి అని వెహికల్స్ పంపించలేం కదా రోడ్డు మీద పెట్టి. సి అకార్డింగ్ టు ద రిపోర్ట్ 2025 వరకే లిమిట్ అంతవరకే, ఇంకా నువ్వు ఎక్స్ట్రా చేయడానికి లేదు. బట్ నువ్వు సోలార్లో చేయొచ్చు. దట్స్ వాట్ దే ఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు సే. సోలార్లో నువ్వు ఎక్స్ట్రా తీసుకొని రావచ్చు. నేచర్ నుంచి వచ్చేది సోలార్ ఎక్కడైనా వర్క్ అవుతుంది కదా, బట్ విండ్ ఈజ్ ఓన్లీ ఫర్ ద రెస్ట్రిక్టెడ్ ప్లేసెస్. సో దట్స్ ద రీజన్ వై యూ కెన్ యూజ్ దిస్ పాయింట్ ఇన్ ద థింగ్. సో దట్స్ ద రీజన్ మే ఇండియా. అంత మనకు తెలియదు కదా. ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ మినిస్టర్ ఎవరు నాకు కూడా తెలియదు, యాక్చువల్ పరిచయం లేదు, ఎందుకు చేయలేదు అడిగి రావాలి. బట్ దిస్ మే బి ద రీజన్ బిహైండ్ ఇట్. దట్స్ ఇట్. ఇంకేమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా? సో ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ ఈజ్ వెరీ ఈజీ అకార్డింగ్ టు మీ. ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ ఈజీ ఎందుకంటే యూ జస్ట్ లింక్ ద థింగ్స్. ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్ అంటే ఏం లేదు, యూ జస్ట్ ఇన్ అండ్ అరౌండ్ యువర్ సెల్ఫ్ యూ నీడ్ టు కనెక్ట్ విత్ దోస్ థింగ్స్. ఇఫ్ యూ గట్ కనెక్షన్ విత్ దోస్ థింగ్స్ ఇట్స్ వెరీ ఈజీ. ఓకే, ఫైన్.